The Enfield Board of Education 7 p.m. regular meeting of May 14th, 2024. Order. Moment of silence and Pledge of Allegiance with Scott Ryder.
Okay. So this has been said before, especially by our board members, Ms. Acree and Dr. Calnan, but mental health is health. And there's a lot going on with regard to our school budget, what the Board of Ed has asked for, what the town council is considering, and I know it's weighing on a lot of people's minds, not only our staff, but our parents, not only our residents, but our students. So I want to take a moment of silence so we can reflect on that and send positive vibes to everybody that has to make a lot of hard decisions. It's going to impact a lot of people. And I want to make sure that our school system looks as similar as it does now this fall as it can. There are 20 days left of school, 17 full days, 3 early releases with lunch, 9 days off, 8 weekends, and Memorial Day. We can do this. And I'd like us all to send some positive energy out to our students and staff and our administrators and our parents and our families to hope that that happens. Thank you. And now I'd like to move on to the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Fire evacuation announcement. In the unlikely event of a fire, you can exit through the back chamber doors and out to the parking lot or the grass, or you can go out these side exit doors here, down the stairway to the left, and out to the parking lot. Can I have the roll call, please, Kathy?
Mr. Ryder,
here.
Mrs. Acree,
Here.
Dr. Calnan,
Here.
Mrs. Cushman,
Here.
Mr. Janitis, Mr. Kober,
Here.
Mrs. LeBlanc,
Here.
Mrs. Pickett,
Here.
Chairwoman Riley.
Here. Okay. Number 6, board guests. First up, Girls on the Run.
Thank you, Chairwoman Riley. Well, you don't need me. They're coming up anyway.
Oh, we got big chairs.
Good evening. Thank you very much for inviting us to come and speak with you tonight. My name is Jessica Soul, and I am a 4th grade teacher at Prudence Crandall School. Several years ago, one of my colleagues brought Girls on the Run, to Prudence Crandall, and I signed up as an assistant coach, and I have loved this program ever since. It has been present in some of our other elementary schools, but right now we are the only active program in Enfield. So Girls on the Run creates and offers an after-school empowerment program. Our program is designed for 3rd through 5th grade girls. It is a nonprofit organization, and it helps participants to recognize their inner strength, increase their level of physical activity, imagine possibilities, and confidently stand up for themselves and others. We use fun physical activities, life skills lessons, and we do an impactful community project. I can say without a doubt that I have seen changes in every one of the girls on my team this year. We had 20 girls sign up. If we had been able to have more adult volunteers, we would have been able to increase that number, but I was thrilled to be able to have 20. To my right is Stephanie Tulloch. She is a social worker at our school, and she was my assistant coach, one of my assistant coaches. Our community volunteer, Ashley Norris, who lives in Stafford, was unable to be here tonight, but she was instrumental in getting us to 20 girls. So I am going to stop talking because the girls have created statements to talk with you tonight and to share with you about how this program has affected them and what they have learned from this program. This last Saturday, on the 11th, we completed a 5K, which was our goal. And I am very proud to say that every single one of our girls crossed that finish line. Everyone. They had a running buddy who stayed with them the whole time, offering encouragement. And there were many, many bystanders cheering, ringing bells, and just supporting them every step of the way. I was fortunate enough to be at the end of the race, and I was able to put a medal, the finishing medal, on almost all of our girls. So this is a program that is very dear to me, and I'm going to let the girls share with you what they have learned. Who's going first, Cece? Okay. All right, my friend, your mic is on. Go right ahead.
Hi, my name is Cecilia Tuttle, and I am part of the Prudence Crandall Girls on the Run. And during this season, I learned that you can always have your own running pace, and that positivity is a huge part in your life, and that you always need to use it. And you need to surround yourself with positive and supportive people, or negativity will overpower you, and none of us want that. And you always need to be kind and treat other people the way that you want to be treated, because all of us wanted to be treated really fairly. And you always tell people how you feel and speak up for others, and including yourself. If someone isn't sure of joining our team, then I would tell them that Girls on the Run is an amazing way to gain self-confidence and learn life lessons that you need to use. Another thing is it would teach you what it feels like to feel good about yourself, and you make great friends and help you with cardio and flexibility, and it's a very fun way. And this wouldn't be possible without our teachers, because they're amazing, and I couldn't imagine where I am right now in all my subjects without the teachers that we have.
Thank you, Cecilia. That's Cecilia.
Hi, my name is Arel, and I'm part of the Prudence Crandall Girls on the Run, and I have learned how to be a good friend. I feel more confident about myself, and I feel like I can run much better. Running the 5K proved to myself that I can do anything if I just try.
Nice job.
Hi, my name is Harper, and I'm part of the Prudence Crandall Girls on the Run. I have learned that I need to pay attention to my happy pace and not be like everyone else. And I learned how to activate my star power and be a star sparkler. I would tell people that it helps you take care of bullies, and you meet a lot of new friends. You activate your star power, and you be a star sparkler.
Yes, yes.
Hi, my name is Allison Torok, and probably my favorite part of Girls on the Run was the ending race. I loved it how right before we did the race that everyone got to be at themselves by putting stickers on them, put tattoos, glitter, and everything that represents them, and it looked like that people felt confident right after Girls on the Run, and that a lot of people were there to support everyone there.
Awesome.
As Jessica mentioned, my name is Stephanie Tullock, and I'm a school social worker. And I've been at Prudence Crandall for 3 years. My first year is when I started the program, and I just feel like it helps with the social emotional development of these girls. I had to volunteer because it's an amazing experience. As you can tell, these girls learn so much. And I actually had a couple girls come up to me, give me a hug today, and say, "Oh, we don't have it anymore." So we've developed some great relationships, and I'm really proud of all these girls.
Thank you. Okay. Can we ask you questions, if that's okay? Does any? Yeah, I mean, I don't know who's going to ask what, but does anybody up here have any questions? Amanda? Ms. Pickett?
Sorry, I just want to thank you all for coming here. I know speaking in front of us is probably not the most exciting place to be on a night like tonight, but it sounds like this club actually really helped with some of those skills. You all seem very well prepared. Cecilia, I don't know if you remember me from preschool, way back in the day, but so much of what you shared personally about what this club has done around positivity and building self-confidence and all of those really important skills that many of you actually spoke about, I think are really important. So thank you, staff, for supporting this. Thank you for the 20 students and you, 5 ladies who came here tonight. And I hope this continues, and I'm really proud of you. Thank you.
So I want to thank all of you for participating in this program, and I have to mention that it was actually my wife that brought this program to Enfield back in 2017 when my daughter started 3rd grade at Eli Whitney. So I just wanted to thank our parent volunteers at that time and our staff liaison, Charlotte Zenzik. And I was sad that it left Whitney when that group got older and moved on, and then it wasn't in our schools for a little bit. And I was very, very happy to hear that you guys brought it back at Prudence Crandall. So I just wanted to thank you, Jessica, and thank you for doing this. So.
I do have a question. I just wanted to clarify that you said activate your star power. I love that term. And
Can you tell us how to do that?
I was just going to say, I was actually going to say to Chairwoman Riley, I think it's time to activate our star power.
Sounds good.
But that is a term that is going to live with me. I just have to say that I loved hearing that. Thank you all for coming. Everything you said, you guys are naturals up here. I have to go speak at the town council on Monday, and I'm nervous about it. You guys,
Yeah, do you want to switch seats?
yeah, channel you guys. But thank you again for participating. Thank you to Ms. Tulloch and Ms. Soul, and I can't wait to see if this program can grow even more in the town of Enfield. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Soul, Ms. Tellick. Thank you very much for establishing a great program that builds their physical abilities, creativity, their confidence, and their star power. I love that. Congratulations to the Prudence Crandall girls for crossing that finish line. I'm very proud of you since I'm part of the Crandall family. Thank you. Hi, Mr. DeBear.
Confidence was definitely a common theme that you guys each mentioned, and it's neat to see the fruit of it when you guys were able to come and to speak. And we just really appreciate you being here and sharing your experiences with us. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, so I just had a question, well, 2 questions. So when do you start?
Come over here so you can hear me. So our season started this year on February 27th.
Okay.
And it ended on May 11th with the 5K.
Okay.
We meet twice a week for 90 minutes. So our particular schedule was Tuesdays and Thursdays from 3:30 to 5 o'clock.
Okay.
Parents would come and pick up the girls at the end. And that was every week except for spring break. We built in a couple buffer days, so the last week was just one meeting because of our extra days.
Awesome.
In case of snow.
Cool. And the only other question, I thought I heard you say that you guys did a community project?
We did.
What did you guys do? Tell me about it.
Oh, do you want to talk? Who wants to talk about it?
I will.
Oh, Cece and Allison, come on up. Both of you can come up. Go ahead. You can both come up. You can sit whichever chair you want.
Our community project is when we all came up with a bunch of ideas of how we could help our community and how we can make our community be recognized and shine. So, do you want to tell me what we did?
So we did I believe.
Very good. Yep.
So, the one project that we did do was cards for encouraging other people to do the Heart and Soul program. And the second project that we did was making posters for the SBAC testing.
All right. That's awesome.
You wanted more of it?
Well, I personally like the SBAC testing.
Oh. Were they
Probably
like,
just me.
were they posters encouraging your classmates to do well and
Yeah.
hang in there? Okay.
Awesome.
There was like other group. We all split up into groups, and we made posters for each grade. I think 2 posters per grade. Yeah, and I got like from all the 5th graders and 3rd graders and 4th graders. I kept on getting compliments. Like that really helped me. That encouraged
Aw,
me.
that's awesome.
And that was like that. I feel like that made my whole season. My whole season.
Well, you ladies obviously activated your star power, and you have inspired me to attempt to activate mine. And if I have a problem, I'm going to come to you guys and figure out how to do it. I was so proud of you guys. Thank you for what you do. It's amazing. And thank you,
And
Ms. Solon and Ms.
At the 5K,
Yep.
I told my uncle that I was almost ready to give up, but then I kept on telling myself, what have you learned this season? What have you thought of? What have you trained for? And it kicked in, I ran. And when I crossed that finish line, I cried. Of course I did.
Awesome.
Can I just add what you just said there? You won't understand, but those words mean more than you'll ever know. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, ladies. Thank you very much. Well, I would have said we could wrap it up there, but fortunately, my next favorite, most awesomest group in town is here, and it's Buzz Robotics. So let's bring them on up. You can use both. Doesn't matter. Just yeah.
Okay. Hi, I'm Miss Marr. I am a math teacher at Enfield High School, and I'm one of the 2 lead mentors of Buzz Robotics.
My name is. Nope.
It takes a second.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Lauren Jefferson. I am the other lead mentor of Buzz Robotics, and I am a school counselor at Enfield High School.
And we just wanted to hand this over to our students who are going to tell you all about how our season went and what we were doing. So they're going to introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Selma Frajat, and I'm a junior.
Hi, my name is Ian Cargyle, and I'm a senior.
My name is Sophia Carrier, and I'm a junior.
I'm Reem Frajat, and I'm a junior.
My name is Katia Diaz, and I'm a junior as well.
Awesome.
To start off with, we would like to thank you for giving us the time to present our team successes during this meeting. This school year, we recruited 7 new team members, including 5 freshmen, 1 junior, and 1 senior. We meet weekly throughout the fall to participate in team building activities and learn the basics of programming, CAD, machining, and wiring. We also reviewed safety procedures and techniques to prepare ourselves for the season. Additionally, Buzz attended the preseason competition at Lime Old Lime High School for our new students to experience the new competitive environment.
In January, we found out the details for our game Crescendo, where robots weighing up to 125 pounds shoot round foam rings called notes into different goals called the speaker and the amp. We met 5 days a week, including Saturdays, at the Enfield Annex to design, prototype, and build our robot, which was named Optimus Prime.
At our first competition was the Hartford District event. Our first couple of matches started out rocky, but we quickly rose through the ranks. We became the 4th seed Alliance captain and chose teams from South Windsor, Connecticut, and Foster, Rhode Island, to be in our alliance. We played through the tournament and managed to make it to the finals undefeated. We were able to win the 2nd and 3rd matches of our best 2 out of 3 finals, which gave our alliance the win. This was our first win since 2016 and our first as Alliance captain since 2011. We also received the Industrial Design Award, our first award recognizing robot design and function in 7 years.
Our second competition was at the University of Rhode Island, where we traveled overnight to Kingston. This gave us the chance to bond as a team and make improvements to our robot, even after winning our first event. We ended up ranked 8th and were picked by the third-seeded Alliance captain. Although we did not advance to the semifinals, we were proud to win the Gracious Professionalism Award in recognition of our positive attitude and willingness to support other teams.
By winning our first event, placing well at our second event, and winning 2 awards, we qualified for the New England District Champion event. Qualifying for this event was our initial goal for the season, and we were very excited to compete. At this event, we experienced many challenges with our robot and had to troubleshoot problems we had not seen before. Although it was sometimes frustrating, we learned a lot about making repairs and adjustments in real time. Using our defensive skills, we were able to become the 6th seed Alliance captain in the Ganson field and make it to quarterfinals. For our commitment to the first community, as well as our positive energy on and off the field, we were honored with the Spirit Award for the second time at the district championship.
Before we started the season, we were not confident in our abilities to qualify for the World Championship. However, our win in Hartford renewed our drive to raise money to attend fundraisers, donations, and sponsorships. We went to the district championship with hope of qualifying to compete in Houston with the best teams in the world. At the end of the district championship, we found out that we ranked 21 in New England. With the top 26 teams advancing, we were excited to find out that we had qualified.
The World Championship was an amazing experience for all of our students who attended. Not only did we get the chance to compete with our robot against teams from all around the United States, we also got the chance to compete against teams from multiple other countries in the world, such as Canada, Israel, Mexico, Turkey, Brazil, and Japan. The championship included 600 teams at our level and 200 other teams at the First Tech Challenge and First LEGO League Challenge level. We got the chance to meet and strategize with many other teams, attended the college fair with colleges that sponsor scholarships for first students, and visit the innovation fair where companies show off their latest and greatest technology. Seeing the size of the event was both amazing and overwhelming, and it is something that we will never forget.
Every year, we nominate 2 students from our team for the First Dean's List, an award that recognizes individual students for their contributions to their team and the first community. This year, we nominated Sophie Carrier and Kathia Diaz. Both Kathia and Sophie interviewed for the award of the Hartford District event. After a competitive judging process, Sophie was selected as one of the 2 students to advance to compete for the award at the New England District Championship. At the District Championship, Sophie was selected as one of only 5 finalists to represent her team and the New England region at the first championship. Sophie is the first best student ever to advance at this level. We are all extremely excited for her.
Although we had a very busy season, we still managed to have time for our community outreach and volunteering. We demoed our 2022 robot Davis at Enfield Family Day, the Enfield Library Open House, a Hartford Wolfpack game, and the EHS Duncan Pep Rally. Our 2023 robot, Meatball, was featured in both the Enfield 4th of July Parade and the Shaker Pines Lake Association Parade. Members of our team volunteered at the First LEGO League State Championship and the Western New England University District event, and 2 of our students even took time in the fall to mentor the First LEGO League and First Tech Challenge programs at JFK.
This year, our team worked really hard to fundraise. In addition to the $35,000 our team needed for the regular season through district champs, we needed to raise an additional $40,000 for our team to attend the first championship in Houston. Our team accomplished this by holding multiple events from pasta dinners to bottle and can collections. We're also extremely fortunate to receive donations, grants, and sponsorships from many local companies and community members that allowed us to be able to compete locally and attend the championship event. Because of our fundraising and generosity of our sponsors, we were able to go without any students having to pay extra for their travel to Houston.
We are excited to be going into our 30th year fresh off a victory. We would like to thank the Enfield Board of Education, Enfield Public Schools, and the Enfield community for your continued support for Buzz Robotics. Without your support, our team would not be able to exist or inspire students to become leaders in STEM.
We would also like to invite the Board of Education and anyone else interested in learning more about Buzz to visit us on our open house next Wednesday, May 22nd at the Enfield Annex from 6:30 to 8:30. More information is available on our Facebook and Instagram at FRC175. We hope to see many of you there.
Can we see the honors run action? This is the really the coolest thing I've ever seen. To watch it actually in competition is really awesome.
Any questions?
It works. It works.
Well, maybe stating the obvious, but as I looked at your organization, I couldn't help noticing that virtually all of you are girls. And I think only a few short years ago, well, yes, I said predominantly. Excuse me. But a few short years ago, not too long ago, this would have been considered the exclusive domain of guys. This is a guy kind of activity, and it's just so nice to see that you've managed to break another glass ceiling, I think. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
I was just curious in terms of the Dean's List competition. What did that entail for you personally?
So both Kathy and I competed at Hartford. It included a interview with two judges between 6 and 10 minutes. Between 6 and 10 minutes, just with the judges asking us questions, and we continued to. It was a back and forth interview. At District Champs, there was another interview with two separate judges, and then at the World Championship, there was no interview, and they, our mentors wrote our essays when they nominated us. They went to the essays and they read all of the judges' notes from the previous competitions. So that's what the process entailed.
Okay. And they were looking at things like your character and like goals and things that you were able to accomplish within the group. Okay. And the mentoring opportunities that you had mentioned with the other schools, like the LEGO First League, like what kind of things are you able to do with them in that mentoring process?
Yeah, so at this earlier, I think about a year ago, our STEAM coordinator reached out to us, and they were running a sort of a mock trial for the first LEGO League competition with students at Eli Whitney. So I and another student jumped up on the opportunity to sort of just experience what it's like to be able to be a mentor. We work with a lot of mentors, so we wanted to see what that experience is like. And it was really rewarding. We got to work with other people, teach them about little kids, teach them about robots and how to make a team form. We managed to get a team name, and everything's sort of rolling good. And then apart from that, after that, we branched off into JFK, which is what we talked about in the presentation, where they have an official First LEGO League and First Tech Challenge. And we help them throughout their season with machining parts, helping with documentations and their presentations.
Oh, that sounds great. Thank you.
Okay, so I hear the robots
We're not going full force. Yeah.
So I really wish that you guys we had a chain here that you could show. Because the really cool thing was at the end, they had to get the robot up on to like this chain and it had to hang for it was like a certain amount of time, right? Yeah. I mean, this pales in comparison to what it does like when it's really out there on the floor and it's shooting those rings in the baskets and they're going around and they're defending. And to you guys credit, your rope. Sorry, I'm talking without the mic on again. So to your guys' credit, like even faced with adversity, at the Big E and the parts of it didn't work, you still managed to be awesome team players. You pivoted, you played defense, and you still got 6th place. And I will tell you, and I said this is the last meeting, I can't stop bragging, like, you knew that Enfield Buzz Robotics was there, and you guys were cheering, you had like coordinated chants, and just school spirit was everywhere. You guys are an amazing group, and thank you for all that you do. Miss Mara, thank you for showing me the ropes and telling me about everything, and having Abby walk me around and show me the place. And congratulations to you two ladies and to everybody. You guys are a great team, and that's what teamwork's all about. So thank you, everybody. Does anybody else have any questions, comments? Go ahead, Mr. Ryder.
I was just going to ask, to Chairwoman Riley's point, will we be able to see a little bit more of that at your open house on May 22nd at the Annex from 6:30 to 8:30? Okay. And I also wanted to compliment this group of students specifically. I know that a lot of you are also North Central Acts of Kindness winners. I see many of your faces. And you have not only an intelligent and cooperative and cheerful group, but a very kind group as well. So thank you for that. I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Awesome. Anybody else? Okay, well, everybody go down to the Annex on May 22nd to go see Optimus Prime in action and meet the wonderful, awesome people of Buzz Robotics.
Thank you so much.
Did Brandy bring a robot?
Do you have a robot
You got
for
a robot,
JFK? Okay. So we've got board guest C, JFK Building Project, and we have Randy Daigle.
But no robot.
No robots.
The grass is growing at JFK, yes. We go and play in the fields. They're on the It's a peaceful spot.
Thank you. See if Thank you very much.
Whenever you're ready to go, Randy.
Okay.
I'm good.
Well, my name's Randy Daigle. I am fortunate enough to be the chairman of the JFK Middle School Building Committee. Thank you for allowing me to come tonight and give you a update. As you all know, that we are on the closeout phase of this project, but I want to just give you some a little history and where we are, and we still have some stuff that we're going to be doing. We're not walking away from some issues that are currently existing. As you all know, the project team, we had owners representative, Construction Solution Group as their owners rep. The architect was JCJ Architecture. Construction manager was Gil Bain. The school was built in 1967, and in 2002, I was fortunate enough to oversee the renovations of that school and every other school in town of Enfield. So I've been doing this as a volunteer for 23 years now. The JFK Middle School is grades 6, 7, and 8. The anticipated enrollment was 1,120, which is now more than that. The existing building square feet was 164,713 square feet. The new building area is 184,239 square feet. Some of our charges were during this addition and renovations was to expand remove the existing portable classroom structures, and increase the transitions periods from 11 to 12 team approach. We were going to do programmatic improvements, gymnasium, auditorium, music, technology, arts, update building infrastructure systems, and environmental hazards that were existing. As you guys know now, the school is 100% air conditioned. There's Wi-Fi throughout the entire area. One of the questions I continuously get asked is, why did we take the pool out? The reason being is because it was not part of the curriculum, and it did not fall into the 71% reimbursement from the state. We needed to have an additional square feet in order to do the auditorium. And the cafeteria and the auditorium. So by eliminating the pool, which would have cost $1.3 million of 100% taxpayers' money to redo the dehumidification system, bring everything up, the locker rooms and everything up to standards, was $1.3 million of 100% taxpayers' money, not part of the reimbursement. So by us taking it over, making it into the cafeteria, we were able to just add on the building where the new auditorium is, and we saved a little over $2 million from the new construction, not having to do 2 new constructions. So I know you guys get asked that a lot. So as you all know, the previous referendum was referendum at $95 million. That did not pass. At that point, we were asked to come back and redo a referendum with a revised school footprint that was more functional. We got it down to $84 million, little over $84 million. At that point, the previous, let's see, oh man, I was going to change the slides here. All right, well, it's not changing. So at that point, we basically did what was minimally required. So our pre-construction, before the bid, the architectural services at that point were $4.9 million. The professional fees were $2.8. Construction was estimated to be at $72 million. We allocated $2.7 million for FF&E and technology, and the owner's contingency, which is our safety net, was only at $1.3 million. Once we started going through the design of this, we found some areas that we can save some money by going through what we did, what's called a CMR, Construction Manager at Risk, is the delivery method that this was built by. Instead of going through design, bid, build, where you design a building and you put it out to bid and you just hope that the numbers come in good. We had control over the numbers throughout the entire design. Every phase of the design, we do a new estimate. If we were a little bit over, we knew we would value engineer and bring it back in. So we knew at the time it was going out to bid, we were within our budget. Then COVID hit, kind of screwed everything up. Fortunately, between the architects, engineers, the building committee, the town, We did something that a lot of projects don't do. We started buying material up front. Once we knew the bids, we were buying material. We were inspecting, off-site inspection and storage. We saved about 62% on some material costs. So we were able to save a boatload of money, which I'm going to go through. The architectural fees were decreased because the Gilbane Building Company was so in tune to what we were doing that the architects felt that they didn't need to do as much as they did on the design phase of it. So that went down to $4.8 million. The professional fees did go up to $7 million because now we had to do additional inspections between the hazmat and we had to do inspections off-site where the materials were being stored. We were able to get the construction down to $58 million, from 72 to 58. Our bids came in. FF&E, we were able to bump up to 4.8. The owner's contingency, again, which was our safety net, went all the way up to 9.2 million. So between the amount of expenditure that the town at that point was set for the project that was estimated to be at $78,695,842, which left $5 million, a little over $5 million left. With having an owner's rep and a CMR, construction manager, at risk, we were able to front load the project to the state. With every change order that we submitted, we had additional backup, and any time we had a potential change order, we notified the state and found out what the percentage reimbursement rate was before we even initiated it. So to date, we have about, the numbers that you have on your sheet has been revised. To date, the town has received $48,079,687 from the state for reimbursements. We have additional funds that we're going to be putting in the next month, and then the town will be receiving additional. So with having over $9 million in contingency, we were able to relook at the project. Some of the things that we value engineered out to have a safety net because we didn't know where the numbers were going to come in, we put back in. Some of the light items that we did get put back in. Some of the items, we were able to put the outdoor basketball court back in. We were able to light the basketball court. We were to provide irrigation at all athletic fields, remove the existing fencing along the entire property and install new. That fence was so deteriorated it was a safety hazard because it was all rusted and the overgrowth encroached. So we got everywhere the fence was, we were able to get another additional 10 feet of property. We installed a new concession building with bathrooms down in the field. So now, when there are games, you don't have to go all the way up to the school and hope it's unlocked. By having the field 100% accessibility, now you not only have elderly people, now you have people that have a difficulty walking. So going up and from the school would have been not pleasant. We provided a new canopy at the cafeteria receiving area so they can receive their loads and deliveries without getting wet in snow. We provided additional storage containers throughout the field so the sports can put their different fields, different equipment throughout the season there without having them lug them all the way back. We purchased permanent bleachers. Right now, that's the only school. All the other schools share bleachers other than the high school. But all the other schools, bleachers come and go when they have an event. Exterior or interior. Initially, the code required us to remove the glass walls that were from the from the classrooms into the corridors. We were able to convince the state by design methods to shorten the amount of glass, but still maintain the glass, which allowed natural light in the hallway. We modified and upgraded the media center. We added 4 new SOAR classrooms, and since then we've added another 2 more classrooms, so we added 6 classrooms in there. The gymnasium, we purchased new climbing equipment and additional bleachers. Initially, we were going to reuse all of existing furniture until we figured out what we need and what could be replaced. We ended up buying all new furniture throughout the entire building. We added additional stairs to rooftop to help the maintaining of the units on the roof. We added screening and filming in the hub classrooms and the security office. Currently, we are still doing masonry pointing on the outside of the building. I just want to talk a little bit about that. We've been experiencing some problems inside some of the classrooms in the stairwell. The reason what's happening is that when this building was built, it has brick and block. There's no cavity, there's no insulation. And you had windows that opened and closed, and you had air conditioners that were in windows. Now that we have a air conditioning unit in there, we're sucking in all the moisture from the outside. So when we painted the walls, all the moisture that's from the outside is now penetrated in. We're fortunate enough to be able to repoint the entire building. We have one more phase, one more wing left. That would have been a $3 million, 100% ticket the town would have to do if we didn't have the funds to do it. It's something that is required. It was something that was unforeseen. Like I said, the building used to breathe. Now it doesn't. It's going to take 2 seasons, they say. We went through 1 whole season already. This is our 2nd season. The areas that we've been able to repair haven't rescaled. We have 1 more wing left we're going to be doing. We have new digital sign up at the front entrance area. I just wish that would get used. We've trained them all 3 times. I wish it would get used. You have a lot of incredible events there, and nobody knows until after the fact, it seems like. We have a new technology shop equipment, computers and IT throughout. Custodial equipment, we brought brand new custodial equipment. We have some of the state-of-the-art flooring in that school that the old equipment wasn't capable of maintaining. So we purchased all brand new equipment. We purchased equipment for the outdoors so they're not trailering cutters and lawn equipment. Equipment for the exterior maintenance. We provided all those. Those are all stored on site, so they're not trailered. Some of them have since left the site to other schools, but we did them for them. One of the things that we've had issues with is the building committee designed and approved additional $200,000 worth of audio equipment for the auditorium. That's been held up for over a year at the town level. The previous town manager and the financial director didn't release these items. We have documentation. We've called 7 different meetings. They've all been canceled. The kids need to have additional microphones. Everything has been ordered and paid for, or not paid for, ordered, but budget. It's been allocated. Now we have to do is order it and receive it. We have funds we're putting aside. Some things that we asked for, we no longer have trades there to do them. But we could provide the equipment for the kids to be able to use, and there's qualified people there to be able to initiate and connect them. So that is one of the biggest holdup right now, is that there's sound equipment that should have been there. It's been over a year. It's been 17 months to be exact, that we've been asking for the town to approve it. We have purchase orders, the building committee approved them, and we're just still waiting on those. We were promised, but have not seen them yet. So with that being said, like I said, we are on a downside. We're trying to close out the project, but to date we have a little over $4.2 million under budget, and we're about 4 months ahead of schedule, even through COVID. So we're under budget and ahead of schedule. So.
Don't you say that on every project that you're on? I think
been
so. I've heard it a
enough.
lot.
I've had the team since we've been doing it since the beginning with me, and it is 100% a team effort. There's been times I'll call up and we need something, and they say okay. We give them justification, and it's never been an issue. Scott's been this from the day one, from the Tina's been there from the beginning. I mean, a lot of us have been there for the beginning of this, from the pre-ref. But yeah, I've been fortunate enough to be part of them all.
Awesome. Okay, so can we ask you some questions? Or you have more?
Nope, I am done. So if you have any questions.
Okay. All right, go ahead, Mr. Unitas.
I've got a few questions. First of all, $4.2 million. I know where we can use it. The concession building, is that storage also in there?
Yes.
And Is it true?
It's not for field storage. It's for storage for, like, the way that this was designed and intended to use is that if a Park and Rec wants to do something or a club wants to do something, they can come in here, they can use it. They bring their own food in. There's little warmers. It's not a cook. You don't make food there. You bring it in. You can do hot dogs and stuff like that. Sodas. And then you close it all up. There's bathrooms there, handicap bathrooms. There is a small storage area if you have stuff that you want to store there, but it's not intended to be for equipment. We have containers, pods, those big places of distribution, they're called pods, that we have 3 of them are there, so all the sports equipment gets stored in those things.
And the cost of that, was that $1 million roughly?
That was under $1 million. It was 900.
Okay.
Little under, like 900. The problem with that was the state requires that the sewer system get pumped all the way back up the hill. That was the basic expense. The building was less than 2. It was all the drainage, the power, and getting the sanitary up to the school because they wouldn't let us do a leach field because it was ball fields and they wouldn't allow us to do it, even though we do them at the college levels. The town and the state required us to do a pump station, which was a couple $100,000 just to get the sediment back up to the street level. That was a big expense. But again, it was at 71% reimbursement, but still, it doesn't mean it was free. But
the size of the gym,
yes,
it seems like it's exceedingly small.
The size of the gym was designed to be for education. It wasn't yet, the gym and the fields were designed for junior high size. After it was built, they decided they wanted to have high school size basketball there. So the committee paid, you paid to have that entire gym restriped to be larger to fit high school. The fields, same thing. The fields were designed to be practice fields. After it was built, then they turned around and said, well, we want to have regulation fields there. So we had to redo a bunch of stuff, redo the irrigation, but the scopes changed. When we started designing this almost 7 years ago, the intent was that was going to be for gym and recreational use only, not town or public. Then since it became popular and expanded, then now it's been used for more than that. So it wasn't designed to be that, nor were the fields designed.
Just out of curiosity, like the basketball season's over, were there any large crowds that went in there? Was there enough room for people to sit?
Well, I mean, I think we have a total of 58, almost 60 seats in there. So it depends on how, I mean, you're not going to have championship games and,
I'm just thinking, like, when I taught there, I mean, we had so many school-wide, programs that were held there. You get entire houses and
right.
Almost high
school, we designed the high school to incorporate championship games. The junior highs and elementary schools were before the gymnasium use and school use. It wasn't designed to be part of the public use.
Okay.
The scope has since changed, so now that you're hearing a little bit of talking about it, why is it not designed this way? It wasn't intended to be designed that 6.5 years ago.
So, like, town intramurals and stuff like that are now being held
That
there?
was
Not.
all the drawings, everything we had, and we just had a discussion because we ended up having money to fence in the baseball field. After we fenced in the baseball field, there was discussion about taking the fencing down because the town wants to now use it for high school. I mean, for high school type soccer.
No, I mean in the gym.
Okay,
intramural basketballs. I'm not intramural. The town leagues. They used to play there. Not anymore.
Well, again, now it's designed for high school size. So I guess you could, but you're not going to have 100 people sitting in there. So, you could design it for the use, but you're not going to have the attendance of people watching it because it wasn't initially designed for that. Okay. They modified the scope.
The locker room. I've heard stories about some cement going down the drains and everything. Is that being addressed, or has it been addressed yet?
Well, it's being addressed with what's happened. There's been a lot of vandalism from the students there. We've spent close to $18,000 replacing bathroom sinks and stalls. This TikTok thing about breaking cabinets, counters, and all that. We've spent almost $18,000 replacing stuff. A lot of that had to do with the vandalism. So if there was nothing to do with the construction part of it, so anything you heard about stuff being poured down the drain wasn't part of the construction phase. It was all part of the vandalism from the kids.
Doors?
We have several doors that are off spring. What's happening is that the custodians are putting wooden wedges underneath the doors and then pulling them to latch tight. And what that does is it kicks them out of place. And they do that 15, 20 times, and they go to close the door, and the door's not lined up anymore. We've been going back there for 3 years. We stopped about 9 months ago because they're just tearing it up. Instead of putting blocks or weights, they put wood wedges. And you put the door on it, and what it does is it lifts the door up.
So that's an after construction problem?
Well, it should not. You don't use wood wedges on those type of doors. They're fire doors. They're supposed to be left open, and then the fire initiation goes off and it closes. So they're being damaged
Okay,
by
thank you.
use.
All right. Are you good, Mr. Gennaris? Okay. Anybody else? Go ahead, Ms. Pickett.
Thank you. It's nice seeing you. I was like, I think this is my third JFK construction presentation. It's always slightly different, though, so thank you. My wonder is about the safety and security measures. So I know there's this extensive camera system because I've seen that, like, as you come in the main office. Can you share with me a little bit about features on, like, do we have locking doors? Are they, like, self-closing? I just heard about a door issue. But
Yeah,
what does the safety and security measures look like?
Again, once we had a security consultant from the town come in, and when we designed it, and we tried to find every black spot there was, hidden areas, corners, and black spots, they're called. They did their good. It's really easy on paper to do it, but once it was constructed, we found out there was some more that weren't caught. So luckily, again, we had the funds. We added additional 32 cameras throughout the building. We added additional monitors inside the security room. We had one-way glass inside the security room. You walk into the main entrance. You have to get let in to go through to the next phase. A lot of the fire doors and everything, if there's a lockdown, they automatically will close. We designed the rooms that if there is a lockdown, there is no visible area other than pretty much what you can see through that little crack. We have a lot of black zones. Each of the teachers were instructed on where these are. So if there is a lockdown, you can secure the door and everybody goes in these black areas. So if somebody pops in, it looks vacant.
Can the doors lock from the inside?
The doors, I believe, I honestly don't know, to be honest with you. I think they do. They would have to have key entry, so they'd have to lock from the inside also.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Anybody else have any questions? Mr. Ryder?
So the two favorite features from teachers, as we did our school modernization committee last year and we toured the buildings, we would host our meetings at JFK so we could say to the parent volunteers, this is what your school could look like. And two of their favorite features were the audio enhancement devices that are in your ceilings. So I was wondering if you could tell everybody a little bit about that. And then the other one, of course, was the dimmable lighting. They oohed and ahed when we dimmed the lights in one of the classrooms at JFK.
So the audio, that started, we were able to, during COVID, everybody had masks on. Nobody can hear the teachers talk. Through some of the college classrooms that I've been doing with the state level, that became an issue. And same with the builders and architects. So we kind of bid it before it became an issue. Again, we were fortunate to have the funds. So we ended up enhancing the audio system in each of the classrooms so the teacher has microphones and the speakers are throughout the classroom. So when the teacher does talk, it's not voice being transferred, it's being transferred electronically through speakers. And what was your second one?
No, they love the dimmable lights, especially
Yeah.
elementary teachers. They were very envious of the lighting.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, you had three rows. You'd either turn this row off, that row, or that row. Then you had shadows casting everywhere. These are dimmable, so you can lower it down when you have, study time or movies or whatever.
They loved it.
Okay.
Randy, one more question.
Yes, sir.
The equipment that you mentioned, paid for, not delivered?
Paid for, it's appropriated. We have money set aside appropriated for it. One, if it does get a PO, the money will be then expended to it.
And it's been sitting there for a year?
17 months now. We've submitted it. We've had POs. We've had meetings that we addressed. They canceled. We just can't get them off. We can't get
Who's
a PO.
holding the money?
The previous town manager and whoever issues POs in this town.
Okay. All right, Ms. LeBlanc, you were next.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Ryder, but when the teachers were talking about the audio, wasn't there a way for them to connect to hearing aids?
Yes.
Which the teachers were very excited about, being able to connect to the students' hearing aids. They felt that would be
that also, yes, Bluetooth through the hearing aids.
Yeah, that was just to see the looks on their faces regarding that. Thank you. I know that there was a lot of bumps in this road, but you persisted, and I appreciate you. I got to work with you through Enfield High. You've been working with Scott longer than me on a project like this, so I really appreciate your due diligence and just pushing through, even though you had some frustrating times. So I was really hoping the school modernization would come to fruition, because I think you would be in your element and you would love every aspect of that, right? Because it wasn't just one school. But I will say, when you drive up Raffia Road in the evening, it's just simply beautiful. Just a simply beautiful property. So thank you for all your hard work.
Very welcome.
Anybody else? No? Okay, well, Randy, thank you very much for coming, and obviously always for your dedication to this town. It's a thankless job sometimes,
Just like
but
you
you
guys
knock it
do.
out of the park. So thank you. Thank you very much.
Chairwoman, can I
Thank you all
just
very
say
much.
something? Randy, don't go yet,
Oh, hold on.
because I'm not going to do this again. You just need to know, like, all the issues that Randy mentioned and that some of the questions that came up here. There has not been one time in the two projects now, a high school and a middle school, that one of us didn't call Randy with something we either heard through the grapevine, heard from some of you, heard on Facebook, whatever, that he has ever said no or didn't fix it. So you guys should probably give him something more than his name on all these damn buildings, because you don't know how good you got it with this guy. So if you do get that one off the ground, somebody better pay him off and get him to do it again, because nothing gets done around this place without him. So thank you, Randy, for everything.
Thank you so much for all your support. You guys have been my right hand from day one, so I appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Well,
Okay. All right. Item number 7. Before we start item number 7, I'm just going to take a chairman's prerogative for 1 second to just say, before you give your final superintendent report of your time here, I just want to thank you for all your years of dedication to Enfield and for sticking it out until the very end with us. There are a lot of people that will miss you, and we wish you the very best, and just thank you for hanging out here with us to the end. All right, so Babe Ruth, knock it out of the park.
There's a red side. Alicia? One last time, I can mispronounce your name. You're up, kiddo.
Good evening, everybody. I'm going to be sharing the in-school report tonight. So, first off, AP exams are currently going on. I encourage you all to wish the AP students that you know good luck on all their exams. The annual EHS Awards and Scholarship Night is Monday, May 20th in the EHS Auditorium. This is at 6:30. This year, over 225 students are being recognized at Enfield High for the ceremony. And just a quick reminder, all students who are receiving awards or scholarships were directly notified via email. Throughout next week, all the juniors will be taking the NGSS science test, which is a graduation requirement. And more information on this testing was emailed to all the juniors. Wednesday the 22nd, we have a half day. I know that all the students are excited about that. The community action learning classes in our school are implementing something in our hallways called fun zones. So this is a place throughout the hallways where students or staff can give each other a high five or a handshake, and it's to spread positivity throughout our school and improve the school climate. And also, our community action learning classes are hosting a wellness fair on Friday, May 31st in the EHS cafeteria. So we encourage students to stop by when they can. And also, the psychology fair is taking place at EHS on Thursday, May 30th during first and second period. It is on an A-Day. So either classes can go down or students can go down individually if they have time. This is where Intro to Psychology students and AP Psychology students can showcase all of their hard work they did all year. And they have trifolds there, big projects, and they just teach everybody about psychology. So it's interesting for everybody to see. I'll hand it off to Izzy.
Oh, good evening, everyone. I'm doing the out of school stuff. We have quite a few things, given that it's coming down to the end of the year. So for EHS Choir and Orchestra, their concert is Thursday the 16th at 6:30 in the auditorium. So if you have choir kids or you want to come see our choir, come on down. They're really good this year. Our senior night for lacrosse is the 21st, and we have senior prom the 24th at 6 p.m. Also, we have our cultural fair, which is kind of like the psychology fair, next Wednesday, the 22nd, during first and second period again. It's basically, we just have a bunch of trifolds again, but it's about people's different cultures. You could do your own culture, or I know a lot of the Honors Spanish 4 are choosing different Spanish-speaking countries that they're doing in. I'm doing Cuba. Sunday, the 26th, is the Memorial Day Parade. Also, Youth Vote is helping with voter registration on Wednesday the 29th in our EHS lobby. So if you need to vote, if you need a voter registration, we've got that. Tomorrow is the Broadway trip to New York City for EHS and JFK Choir. So that's going to be exciting. They're seeing Michael Jackson. Friday, May 31st, is the senior class picnic and class banquet. And June 3rd is EHS Next Level Athlete Day. So it's athletes that are going on to college sports and stuff like that. They're doing their commitment on June 3rd. And 29th and the 30th, Mr. Murray is hosting the Civil Discourse Circle for the third time this year. He rescheduled it from the 8th and the 9th because of AP testing. So if you guys have any kids that you know in EHS that are into social justice and racial disparities and talking about race, that should be super interesting for you guys. Speaking of race, I'm the co-president of the new EHS Black and Brown Student Union. So if you also have students that are interested in racial discussions regarding Black issues and also application, like HBCU applications, which is historical Black colleges, we do all of that there, and we're super excited to start. So it's teacher recommended. So if you have a kid, make sure they go to one of their teachers, or Miss Clark, or Miss Worthington, or me, or Navaj. Thank you.
So some of this is repetitive. All Enfield Public School students will be dismissed early with lunch on May 22nd for a half-day staff professional learning day. Enfield High School will hold their awards and scholarship night on Monday, May 20th in the Enfield High Auditorium at 6:30. A quorum agenda is included in your packet. All Enfield Public Schools and offices will be closed on Memorial Day on Monday, for Memorial Day on Monday, May 27th. Board members have received an invitation to attend the Memorial Day Parade being held on Sunday, May 26th. Parade will start at 1 p.m. from the Our Lady of Angels campus and will end at the Enfield Town Hall. Quorum agenda can be found in your packet along with a flyer with additional information about the parade. And that will conclude the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Jezik.
It could be the shortest one.
See, just wait, Pete.
All right. Okay, audiences is number 8. Maureen Griffith, you can come up and it's state your name and relationship to the district, and you have 4 minutes.
She's
She's the only one.
Hello, Maureen Griffin, mom to three in between JFK and the high school. You guys know I've been following this for years. And I've picked up following town council more with the budget discussions. And there seems to be a very distinct mismatch between the presentation and what we've heard for the past 3 years on the board side to what they were presenting just a few nights ago on the town council side. They seem to be massaging numbers in interesting ways. I remember when you made your budget presentation, Ms. Riley, you spoke of 78 new SPED students being a major driver of the disparity of the original budgeted amount and what is needed. So I have a question. Maybe you guys can know the answer. What is the historical numbers of SPED students? How much do the delta from year to year, how much do they change historically? I mean, we had 78 new this year, plus the ETLA going from 21 to 22, that you didn't graduate the kids and you just had more come right into it. So obviously that went up. So to insinuate that that was mismanagement, that was reality of a school district that you can't predict who's moving into your town. So I would really love to know the historical data, because I think you guys deserve to get a more accurate picture out. And regarding the funds to the ECS grant versus Alliance money, you guys budgeted what you were told you were going to get, that the town got more than that, and it being what the Alliance grant would have been, for you guys not to get that, knowing that you had budgeted in planning that, they're just torpedoing you. And they're continuing it today with wanting to cut your budget. There's not a thing on there that is not needed. All these kids who are here tonight, and Mr. Daigle, talking about the wonderful things that have happened at JFK and the high school with the redoing, and the programs that we have for these kids, they're great. And hey, just because we want to show that we can have a zero budget increase so that we can say, look at us, they're torpedoing our schools. They're cutting recklessly. They don't know what they're doing. Please stand up for us. You need to fight back. I mentioned before about looking on CABE for the role of a Board of Education member. Advocate on behalf of your students, the district, and public education within your community. Somehow going in front of the town council and saying, yes, please do cut the budget that was approved by the Board of Ed bipartisanly, that's not advocating for them. I'm sorry. Please read what your responsibility is and what your job is. And is interested in attaining facts, but also remembers that the administration has responsibility for operating the schools and cannot spend all its time making reports to an individual board member. Stop playing in the weeds. We have men, women to run our schools. That's their job. That's their profession. Let them do it. That would be like me looking at the firefighters' budget and saying, well, there's only 3 fire trucks. Why do you need 4 drivers? Cut the 1 driver without knowing that one of them is a ladder truck that needs a 4th extra driver in the back. But hey, I don't work for the fire department. I've watched the emergency. Well, guess what? If you've gone to school, you're not an expert on education. Let the experts do their job. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Maureen. Okay, and that's the end of audiences. So board member comments. Who would like to go first this evening?
I'll go. Oh.
Dr. Callen, go for it.
So all of us have had at least one teacher that we remember and whom we will continue to remember for the rest of our lives. Indeed, a teacher who shaped the very direction of our lives. For me, that teacher was Mr. Campbell. Mr. Campbell was my English teacher when I was a senior at Enfield High School way back in 1967. Until that time, I was a good student. In fact, I think I was a very good student, but just a very good student. But Mr. Campbell actually made me excited about ideas, excited about thinking. He encouraged me to wrestle with ideas, to cultivate them, to shape them, and never to stop shaping them. He taught me that an idea was never final. It was always in a state of flux, of formation, of nurturance, at once a source of intense satisfaction and at the same time a nearly intolerable frustration, what I think Whitman had in mind when he alluded to the sweet hell within. In short, Mr. Campbell invited me to think creatively. I honestly don't know what would have become of me had I not met that great man who had taught at Enfield High School. How do you place a value on that type of teaching? Can you measure it by means of standardized testing, or perhaps by the number of assignments completed in a given block of time? Or maybe a score on a student satisfaction survey would do the trick. The truth is, there is no way of gauging the impact of good teaching upon the developing mind of a child. How do you quantify the insatiable drive to learn, to discover, to know? The true value of a teacher cannot be reflected in a paycheck. It can only be apprehended in the mind of a student forever grateful for the gift of learning and thinking. We can never begin to pay our teachers enough for everything that they do for our children. But then there's the Enfield Town Council, led by the Republicans, which apparently believes that teachers are a mere commodity that can be valued, devalued, and finally discarded with all the seriousness of mind of a used car salesman. The town will suffer incalculable damage for years to come as a result of the irresponsible manner by which the school budget was negotiated, if that is even the right word for it. The voters will remember. Thank you.
Who would like to go next? Mrs. Pickett?
Last week was Teacher Appreciation Week, so thank you, EPS staff. This makes me even more frustrated that I have to sit here again and correct harmful and inappropriate comments continuing to be made by our mayor. I was copied on an email that he sent to a school staff member that's threatening, accusatory, and has blatant misinformation. I want to publicly thank the residents, the staff, the family, and the students who have rallied to support our school budget. I know you aren't indoctrinating students, that our students are not pawns, but they're brilliant, critically thinking beings, and that your voice has always been heard by me and my counterparts. Please continue to mobilize. We need long-term commitment of our community to get the sustainable investment needed for our education. The mayor's also made comments about our funding and the budget. The last meeting I sat in to discuss our budget, which happened downstairs, he proclaimed the need to have continued open conversations about necessary supports, resources, and the impact. This hasn't happened. For over 2 years, I've been asking for this greedy budget. I guess my ask wasn't very clear, but I think many of the challenges that we're sitting here with this is because of a true lack of understanding, and some that just don't care to understand the facts. What I would love to see is a budget built on the needs of our district. What would be this ideal budget? How do we use the state and federal grants and funding to get to this dream? How do we use our local funds to get to this dream? This would help us outline the gaps and also assist in understanding the impacts of the cuts. Unfortunately, I don't think there's a deep understanding of this complicated funding structure of public schools, and lots of assumptions and misinformation is instead being shared. Along these lines, I believe we're addressing this piece later under item 11E, but there has been recent information about 2 years of the town sitting on over $1.4 million of ECS funds. This is money for education. This isn't about Board of Ed budgeting. We were under the impression that we were getting alliance funds, so we proposed a budget with that in mind. This issue is about town budgeting and fiscal practices. Our town manager recently showed a look back, and the town has always given us the full amount of ECS funding received, regardless of what we put in our proposed budget. Now, we're sitting here in a justifiable hole due to changes in special ed age, the 78 new special ed students, along with some other challenges, and the town is contemplating if they're going to give us the money that the state has given us, who they continue to blame aren't giving us enough money. There is a concern about taking this education money from our general rainy day fund so we can keep our bond rating low. But guess what? Bonding is part of our community problem. What's the point of a rainy day fund if you can't use it because we have so much debt? With all that's transpired, Phil, I think I'm okay with your transparency initiative, but not just for the Board of Ed, for our entire town. I think our current Board of Ed chair and previous chair could attest any budgeting question asked. EPS Finance can pull up a clear report demonstrating money in and out. This has been the fiscal and budgeting issue of the town that is contributing to this concern. Also related to the budget, I'd like an update from Joint Security on the Armed Guard program. I have been hearing information that doesn't align with what has been shared publicly. There's no reason why families and staff shouldn't be aware of the security structure and have a full understanding of the budget impact. I have heard, and again, these could be rumors, but no information is being publicly shared, that we are hiring full-time instead of part-time. These changes will significantly change that budget. The mayor has repeatedly said that this program is operating at the same cost, but there's no way that that's possible. From what I recall, when this information was shared with me once in an executive session, they were being paid way more generously than our current guards, and the cost of hiring them, outfitting them, and training them will only increase that budget. The council has also added a captain to oversee this, which will be way more expensive. And the last night, I heard that the council will be cutting all the training for the police department. I'm incredibly concerned about this security program, the cost and the effectiveness, and now the legality of it. How are we ensuring the officers that we're hiring will receive the training that they need? Legislation outlines this, and it looks like the council is cutting most of it. This is also concerning to me as I review the MOU and job descriptions. With potential budget cuts and less resources and supports for staffing, who will be addressing the student behaviors? We heard tonight about vandalism. We know there's other challenging behaviors happening in our school. This directly connects to the raised concerns over our already high arrest and 911 transports. These harsh responses disproportionately impact our students of color and our special education students, alarming and concerning trends. I would ask for clarification from our Joint Security Committee on the role of the armed guard and student behavior. Will they be security positions at the entrances of our buildings or integral staff members like many of our current security team members who assist in de-escalation and student response? I'm incredibly concerned if they will be included in student behavior without training and without proper protocols. The mayor has asked for possible solutions. I'd like for him to consider the investment he's making in guns and officers, not security. Instead, could the town support the current security program and give the Board of Ed the extra funds they're pumping into unnecessary and ineffective security? We should have never agreed to remove security from our budget proposal. This is no way in helping us, and I honestly am concerned this is leaving us less secure as it seems like there's no solid plan, budget, or staff in place. We should be talking about the School Modernization Committee. The council made more CIP cuts last night, and nothing in their budget addresses real, sustainable, and effective safety updates or the dire repairs and expansions needed to our school facilities. My last plea and consideration for the council as they dismantle our budget: for a party that ran on transparency and getting us out of an alliance district, none of your actions support this. You're making deals in the dark, not listening to the experts, the families, or the staff, and not addressing the real needs of our students. Next year, our district is going to be rolling out a new K-5 reading program. Removing staff is detrimental, especially the staff that support our teachers. Cuts have impact, and what we've asked for is what we need to sustain. Maureen, I will add a last comment here since you mentioned questions around data. EdSite does publicly report the number of students identified as special ed from year to year. I want to be clear that this data doesn't share who are newcomers to our district and who might have lived here and over time have been identified for special ed, but you can compare yearly special ed data. It's really hard to predict how many students will even move into district from year to year and how many might be special ed, so that's a really challenging thing to make a prediction on, and that's somewhat of the challenge that we're sitting in here tonight. But thank you for your thoughtful questions.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Piggott. Who would like to go next? Anybody? Okay.
Okay, I'm going to be addressing a lot of different people who aren't here, people who are here, and the facts and figures that I have versus facts and figures and numbers that have been all over the place depending on who you're talking to and who you're listening to. So obviously, I think some of mine may be questioned, and there'll be some that people don't know about yet. My first question would be to the people out there who have been adamantly in favor of this 8.68% increase in next year's budget. At the end of this year, those people who are screaming for the 8.68, do you know where we're going to be in June, at the end of June this year? In this year's budget? It's not going to be $1 million in the hole. It's not going to be 2. It's not going to be 3. It's going to be $3.9 million, roughly. That's where we are. That's where we're short. Now, a lot of this harkens back to the COVID time period, where you had federal monies that were being spent all over the place by both the town, school board, and some pretty curious manners. Just last week, I was told that the last Board of Ed and the last town council, and possibly somebody in the finance department, had made some miscalculations. On the board side, there were people who were hired with ARPA funds, federal dollars. The exact number and those carried over to this year's budget seem to be, again, really in the cloud. I don't know exactly how many were carried over, how many were put on our budget. I know there's a number, 67 to 70s, that has been floating around, and there's all kinds of stories associated with those people who fall into that category. But I think when you hire people with the ARPA funds, they are, or they now are, because the funds are no longer coming, members or employees of the Board of Education. So in other words, we're paying a lot of people to be part of the Board of Education budget that they weren't originally paid for with. The federal dollars were being used to pay their salaries. I don't know if they were meant to be permanent employees or not. If they were, then that's a pretty shady hiring technique that was perpetrated on the people of Enfield by hiring that many people without saying, this is what we need, this is what we're going to pay for, and this is what we're going to continue to do. The Board of Education and the Town Council agreed to do some projects together. The projects, from what I understand, were split up. The Board of Education was to pay a few of them, and the Town Council was to pay for some of them. In the end, again, depending on who you're listening to, I've been told these parking lots and the tennis courts and the Town Council ended up paying the full bolt. And somewhere in there's $1.7 million that I can't figure out. I think a lot of people can't figure out what went where, who got it, and where it is. As far as the Alliance District monies, there's been a lot of talk about that, the state not giving us our money. I believe there has been a number of erroneous statements made to both the Town Council and the Board of Education. We, the Board of Education, was told we'd get $1.4 million withheld, or was withheld from the Board of Education by the state of Connecticut. Apparently, again, depends who you're listening to, not only did this happen once, but it may have happened twice, which comes to $2.8 million the Board of Education did not receive. So we were told. The state of Connecticut has all kinds of formulas when it comes to paying towns that are on the Alliance District. It is my understanding that when a school board receives its full funding from its governing body, and in this case the Town Council, the formula kicks in as to how much money the state is supposed to give us. The past 2 years, the Town Council fully funded the school budget. By that happening, according to the state formula, we, the Board of Education, were not entitled to those monies. Central office went ahead and made plans and spent monies that they thought they were going to get reimbursed for by the state. And they also thought they'd receive some of the monies back with grants for this past year. Once again, is a question of where the money's going and who got it. This is where some miscalculations seem to have taken place. The state did not end up giving us, the Board of Education, money, the 1.4, twice. I know one of the checks, maybe both, went directly to the Board of Education. And again, this is another cloud. And the previous town manager instructed someone to transfer some of that money back to the town council. The town council was under no obligation to give that 1.4 million paid twice to the Board of Ed because it had fully funded the two previous boards. Apparently that's how the formula works. Now, where did the 2.8 million go? Where did it end up? Did the last town council spend it on some of the projects that they funded? Or is it sitting somewhere in some account? Who knows? Even as late as our caucus last night, 2 out of 3 checks, I guess we know that they were written, but we still don't know where the money is. The bottom line, it appears that this town council, I believe, is going to pay the $3.9 million that we're in the hole, that we're in the debt. That's this council paying for last year's, or the budget that we're on, that's coming to an end. That hasn't been mentioned. That's almost 4% of this past year's budget that's being paid for this year's town council for last year's school budget. Okay, now by doing this, that means next year's budget, if the Board of Education's recommended budget right now of 8.68% that everybody's screaming about, if you take that almost $4 million that the town council is going to be kicking in, that's like another 4% on top of the 8.68. We're at over 12.5% more monies that the town is going to be spending on education. I'm telling you right now that the people who sit on this Board of Education and the people who sit on the town council, they ran and got elected as volunteers. We come from all walks of life, different income levels, different employment backgrounds. Some have kids and grandkids that are still in the Enfield public school system. Others have raised their kids, and those kids have gone off to live and work someplace else. Enfield, now I taught here for 38 years. Enfield has always provided a decent and good education to its kids. We've had highs and we've had lows. We've had to let teachers off, we've got them back. It's just a cycle that goes in just about all communities. But I can't stress enough and say we can only do what we can afford. I believe over the past 2 years, our taxes have gone up approximately 15 to 16%. We had a year of a town assessor running around raising property taxes to levels never seen before in this town. The town government changed from a democratically controlled supermajority to now a Republican supermajority town council. The Board of Education also flipped, as it always does. Well, not that it always does, but it will always remain 5 in the majority, 4 in the minority. And it's incumbent that we learn how to try to work together. But I know the people sitting up here tonight, they all mean well in their own beliefs and opinions. We all want to do what's best for the kids, but it has to be done with an educational system that Enfield can afford. That being said, the education department is not the only department that the town council has to take care of. I think there's at least 10 or 11 other departments. Approximately 61% of our town budget now already goes towards education. If you listen at the town council meetings, there is a world of things that have to be done, things that haven't been done in the past that are just been put off year after year, over and over again. Infrastructure projects. Some town employees are going to be let go, and at least some of the jobs will be consolidated. The police department is not going to be getting everything that it asked for, too. Now, somebody just mentioned the guards. From what I understand, the town council is cutting $400,000 from that. $400,000. I've known the town manager, Ken Nelson for many years. I know many don't care for him because he can be brutally honest and not always use the best words in saying what he means. I know many people don't care for me because I too can be brutally honest and I don't always choose the right words to express myself. But I will tell you this about Ken. I know he's a good man and he's doing what he thinks is right for the town of Enfield, and I agree with him. And all the other people who sit on that town council, Democrats and Republicans, are doing what they think is right from their points of view. I know Ken has a very nice business, and by being mayor, it's costing him a hell of a lot of money by doing what he's doing this year for the people of Enfield, for the people who reside in Enfield. If you only knew how many hours people on the Board of Education put in, and especially the town council, to serve the people of Enfield, to try to make it a good community, you'd be shocked. I'm always amazed at the number of people who live in Enfield who complain over and over about the things the town council and the Board of Ed are doing or not doing. I know because I was guilty of doing the same thing for about 6 months with the Pizzagate episode. And now here I sit again. For those who complain or disagree with our decisions, I implore you to run for the next the Board of Education or the Town Council in the next election. Your eyes will be so open as how many things are not simply a yes or no vote. There are so many tough decisions that have to be made in regards to what we and you believe is best for the community. And we and you are never going to please everybody all the time. In closing, I'll say, teaching is a passion. Teaching is an art form. It's a love affair in what teachers do and the connections they make with their students. You see the heartbreak kids have to go through. You see the smiles and the laughter and the joy teachers can bring into kids' lives. The moments that have changed a kid's life. Dr. Campbell, you were at a high school when there were a hell of a lot of good teachers there. But many times, teachers change kids' lives. I never looked at teaching as a job, but as a calling, an experience that ranks with one of the most rewarding experiences I've ever experienced. Now, if I've changed one person's point of view on this budget crisis, one person to reconsider the enormity of the town council's decision, then I've done my duty as a member of the Board of Education. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Janitis. Does anybody else want to go? Go ahead, Phil. Mr. Coburn?
All right, thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. So as usual, during board member comments, I like to balance being brief and, of course, addressing a few different items. So in regard to more specific items on the agenda as they come up, I'll reserve my comments for those points. During this time, I do want to take the opportunity to echo comments at this point I feel like I make every meeting. What I want to focus on is a couple themes that, as a board, as a district, that we must strive and work on. And again, I may sound like a broken record, but I think our priorities should be transparency, responsiveness, and responsibility. These are principles that in each and every decision we should be considering. Responsibility is obviously a vague topic. You have personal responsibility, social responsibility, and fiscal responsibility. When we're talking personal responsibility, that's taking ownership for one's mistakes. If we're talking social responsibility, that covers everything by standing by your decisions to following your principles. And of course, the big subset being fiscal responsibility, broad subject area that covers everything from the stewardship of resources to simply not spending funds in excess of what you have or what's been appropriated, as the case may be. So in regard to the Board of Education, I think it is important to understand that we can't make payments on credit. We don't have a credit card. When we make payments, it's with funds that we actually have, and that will come up later in other topics. Regarding the theme of responsiveness, I do want to take a moment to recognize everybody that has reached out to myself and all the other elected officials over the past couple weeks now. I do appreciate your involvement and engagement, and I do want you to keep it up. In a representative democracy, these are important things. We are up here representing the community, the public, students, parents, everybody. On the topic of responsiveness, recently I was skimming through some news articles, and one of the things that concerned me was an article talking about challenges in special education, and one of the parents or students came out of our school district, and there was a sentence saying Enfield Public Schools did not respond to a request for comment. Similarly, along these lines, I've heard comments from staff that administrators in central office have not been showing up at the schools recently, that they know the superintendent's leaving, they know the assistant superintendent's not taking the job, but they haven't been seen in those schools. They don't know who they are. And recently with the non-renewal notices, again, I know those were not personally delivered, and these are all things I think that tie into the thing of, excuse me, responsiveness. If we're not being responsive to our people that we're servicing, that's definitely an issue. Big theme, again, that I've been talking about is transparency. So, as I mentioned probably the last meeting, this is something I'm working on, and I'm trying to start with some big goals and kind of narrow it down. So this is something that it's going to involve the whole board. It's going to come out of committees, it'll come out of leadership, it'll come through policy, it'll come through finance. The themes of this, it's simple ideas. It's addressing oversight, it's addressing situational awareness, the reporting and dissemination of information, and understanding and having a clear picture of the decision-making process of both this board and the upper echelons of our administration. Included in this should be a conscious effort to reduce poor communication. And I think the spin-off of that has been addressed is when you see misinformation, and I think that could be addressed with clear communication and facts. Giving feedback and receiving feedback are both important components. Following comments at our last meeting, it was brought up that this should be a joint effort with the town council, and I since have reached out to the leadership of the town council to gauge their buy-in and interest level, and we did have some promising conversations. And I look forward to working with my caucus, the full board, and the council in moving this transparency initiative forward. I do want to let the public know, going back to April 5th, I did receive a partial response to some of my earlier requests for information. I believe this was shared with the full board, but I do just want to highlight some of the information that came back. We did learn, and again, this data should have been on or about April 5th, that the BOE actually employs 846 people. And I think this is important because when we're looking at the budget and we see 684.25 and 750.2, those are not real numbers. Those are constructed numbers. They're a formula that's sent to the state. If you have two part-timers on a 40-week schedule and they both work 20 hours, they're both 0.5 people, and that's how that number comes up. So I think it's important that we all understand that we're not talking about 684 or 750.9. Assuming this is the whole data, we're talking about 846 actual persons employed by the school district. I kind of tried doing some light business analytics. As I said, I didn't get all the information. It didn't include job titles, but it did have some of the data. So looking at salary and hourly, it looks like 76% of our staff is salary, 24% is hourly. I was trying to, the goal, and this goes back to, I know, conversations that received both positive and negative feedback, was trying to understand unadjusted salaries, and that led to the W-2 spinoff. This did have some base salary information, so looking at just the base salary alone, we are obligated to spend $50 million. And I think that's an important piece when we're talking about where we are, things that we can cut and things that we can't cut. Another analytic I was able to run off of that was just town of residence for these employees. And I think it was important to note that only approximately 42% of Enfield staff are Enfield town residents. So again, that could be something that would be useful for the board in incorporating policies, everything from incentives for residents. When we're looking at things, and we were talking about our increasing educator diversity plan, we got to understand that we do want our staff to represent our community, but if most of our staff are not members of our community, those numbers are going to be skewed. So I do want to take a moment. Obviously, I didn't break them all down, but through the chair to the superintendent is just following up on my other requests, specifically at the March 27th meeting. And at our last meeting, which I believe was April 23rd, I asked about the payroll impact of the 121 non-renewals. As I said, I did estimate that at about $7 to $8 million. Even if we just assume that all those people make $50,000, you're still looking north of $6 million. So I guess just a quick yes or no through the chair to the super. Did we work out the number of the payroll impact on those non-renewals?
Can you repeat the question? I'll be honest, I wasn't listening.
That's fair. The 121 employees that were non-renewed, did we calculate the payroll impact if they were not to be rescinded?
No.
Okay. So that is information I think I would like to reiterate through leadership to the administration if we could get that. Of course, we've heard from staff and students the devastating effect of that. And we've talked about the budget and the likely potential that the town council may not appropriate the full funds that we requested. So again, we talk about data, we talk about numbers. If we don't have the data and we don't have the numbers, it's hard for us here to make decisions. As I said, I think everything else I'll address as it comes up at the agenda. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Kober. Anybody like to go? All right, Mrs. Blank. Peter, do you like roller coasters? Do you like roller coasters?
I love them.
Because when you were reading what you were reading, I was like, all right, we're going, and I agree with Peter, and then like dip, I don't agree with Peter, and then I kind of see his point, but then I don't. So that. Okay, I just want to add a couple things. I feel like I've explained this so many times this week and last week. So since we're talking about the 3.9 million, I don't think it's that number. I don't know that we have the exact number. And the reason why there's a budget shortfall this year is very simple. We had 78 special ed students moved into our district. We had, when we say the ETLA, that means the Educational Transition Learning Academy. That means students that were 21 have now been extended to 22. And that's also for a special ed program. So if a student should have been graduating out at 21 and they didn't, they are still in at 22, and that includes outplacements. And an average outplacement costs $100,000 to $150,000. So that caused us to be in a budget shortfall based on a law that the state had passed. Also, there was indications from the state that the excess cost sharing grant, again for special ed, was supposed to be 91%, and I think it came in at 67-ish%, which also caused a budget shortfall. It's not about misspending money. Also, Tom Serrard used to say this, we do our budgeting backwards here. So we have to set and approve a budget before the state deliberations are really ramping up. So we have to make budgeting decisions based on the time February comes and the information we have at that time. One thing I want to reiterate, because we talk about special ed a lot, is that any family that has a special ed student in our district, please do not feel like a burden. We shouldn't even have to be having these discussions. We are 25% special ed. The teachers are here for you. The schools are here for you. They're here for your families. Please remember that. Please do not feel like a burden to Enfield Public Schools. As far as hiring people with ARPA funds, we were not the only district that did so. As a matter of fact, we got designated in that time as an alliance district, and one of the things that an alliance district tells you is that you need more support staff. And that's exactly what was hired, support staff, social workers, behavior techs. We had TESOL teachers, which means they're teachers that teach English as a second language, because now we're over 16 languages here in Enfield Public Schools. And again, diversity should be celebrated and not put a price tag on. I'm not going to get into the town council, what I think at that point. Me and Chairwoman Riley are going to go before the council on Monday and kind of
give a narrative of exactly how we got here for this year. But I want everybody to keep in mind that the 78 new special ed students had to be factored into our budget for next year. And so when Chairwoman Riley gave her wonderful budget presentation, she had indicated that the additional cost for special ed next year was $3.6 million, $3.7 million. And that's part of the 8.68% ask. So it's not due to frivolous spending. The contractual obligations were actually less than what the cost of special ed is going to be. And I want people to remember that. So Peter, like you said, it depends on who you listen to is how you're going to feel. So if I feel like I've helped one person with my explanation, just like Peter has, I mean, that's why we're here and that's why we have differences of opinions and different viewpoints. I do want to take a moment to thank the students and the teachers who came out for the rally. The students, you are amazing. And the way you spoke, it was emotional, it was intelligent, it was educated, and I loved everything every student said because it really shows the impact a school day has beyond just the educational learning and the impact that your teachers have on your lives and your families on your lives. I will also thank you for the 1 million emails. I do like to get emails for something that I really stand for. Okay, Phil, I just kind of wanted to reiterate when you can't just like take a blanket 121 staff members to figure out a budgetary impact. I think that based on what the town council is going to give us, we really won't see the budgetary impact on that, or won't be able to see the budgetary impact truly until I guess we go through, it's going to look like a war room to figure that out based on a lot of different moving parts. I will say, and I do want to thank Carol Hall because she understood the position we were in with the additional students this year, and she made us aware of a waiver that the town of Enfield could figure out if you have an increase in special ed kids after your budget's posted. So I do want to thank Representative Hall for giving us that. I will add with that Mental Health Awareness Month, check on your family and friends, and it's always your friends that you think you don't need to check on that you should. Also check on yourself. Be kind to yourself. One of the things I am known to say is speak to yourself the way you speak to someone you love. The last thing I'm going to end with, and just bear with me, is when I was the chair of the Board of Ed, Mr. Drezek asked me to write him a letter of recommendation. And after I wrote the letter of recommendation, I thought that there has been really great accomplishments with Mr. Drezek leading the helm. So I just kind of wanted to read pieces of what I wrote, because I think it's important to understand that there is, after being on the board since 2011, we're definitely, there's a legacy that's left here and a positive legacy. I say, I have known and worked with Mr. Drezek since 2011 in his various roles, and I have nothing but confidence in all he has done. My work with Mr. Drezek began in 2011 when I was a newly elected Enfield Board of Education member. At this time, Mr. Drezek was Director of Human Resources for EPS. I learned quickly that although Mr. Drezek had tough responsibilities in negotiating contracts and employee issues, he was well-liked, well-spoken, and well-educated on all matters relating to his HR role. In 2012, Mr. Drezek was appointed to Deputy Superintendent of Enfield Public Schools, and in 2017, Mr. Drezek was appointed to the Superintendent of Public Schools. And I remember when you got that appointment after the meeting that it was over, I said, "Congratulations, young Christopher. Don't screw this up." This is where we saw many positive changes for EPS. The Stowe Early Learning Center, a pre-K facility, was created during Mr. Drezek's tenure as deputy superintendent. At the time, Head Start was housed in a separate building. Mr. Drezek and his pre-K team made the decision to move Head Start to the Stowe Early Learning Center. The research indicated that our Head Start students were not receiving the same opportunities as the students in the Early Learning Center, mainly due to geography. This decision would make sure Enfield's pre-K students were afforded the same curriculum which encapsulated STEAM. Enfield Stowe Early Learning Center is a champion pre-K facility. As Chairwoman Riley had explained in her budget presentation, they were the second in the world to receive an award. One caveat that remains at the forefront of this is that Mr. Drezek included the staff in every step of this process. Mr. Drezek worked to create the Enfield Adult and Alternative Education Center in 2018. This created a new and innovative program which not only benefited the Enfield students, it also created an opportunity to bring in students from surrounding communities that were also in need of such programming, but the lack of resources to house their own. This also brought in tuition money to the town of Enfield. The Enfield Adult and Alternative Ed Center became a model for programs like this throughout the state. In the 2018-2019 year, Mr. Drezek created the Kindergarten Behavior Initiative. At the beginning of that school year, it became apparent that teachers and principals were seeing significant out-of-the-ordinary behavior issues in our kindergarten classes. In any other year, this would have necessitated significant budget monies, additional staff, and take a year to develop and implement. Mr. Drezek, along with his staff, analyzed the behaviors and developed the transitional program, reallocated current staff, teachers and aides, and implemented the program in a little over 3 months with minimal budget impact. This type of responsiveness to a serious educational organizational problem demonstrates significant leadership. Mr. Drezek was integral in creating the Enfield Eagle Academy and Therapeutic Day School in 2019. Mr. Drezek and the special ed team struggled with the reality that we could not service all of Enfield's students. Mr. Drezek recognized the exceptional special education educator talent in Enfield, met with them, and created Eagle Academy. It is for grades K through 12. Due to the size of the building, we are at maximum capacity within 1 year of opening. This has allowed students to remain in their community at school. This also enables an exceptional working relationship that benefits the Enfield students who may be ready to move out of Eagle Academy to transition into our other schools in the district. This also allows students to participate in after-school activities. Mr. Drezek focuses on internal talent. We have been able to implement many positions with retirements and working with the exceptional talent in Enfield. Mr. Drezek created a Director of Educational Equity, Director of Innovations, Director of Talent, and Director of Strategic Planning and Development. These were all developed budget neutral to fully utilize the amazing talent we have in Enfield. Mr. Drezek recognizes the importance of making sure our students are getting the help they need in content areas. In 2023, he created roles of instructional coaches. These coaches go into the classroom to provide additional support in content areas. Mr. Drezek explained that the supports that come into the classroom are more important than pulling the students out. There are many other accomplishments that should be noted. All of our contract negotiations with our bargaining units have been successful. Enfield High School has a high graduation rate. During COVID, Mr. Drezek successfully moved our district to a 1-to-1 district, making sure there was equitable distribution and internet. Mr. Drezek loves to engage with students, and with the principal of Enfield High, created the Superintendent's Advisory Council, which the students really run and used to give Mr. Drezek a really hard time about what they wanted. I think of Morgan, who was our student rep last year. She would come in and carry over things from that Student Advisory Council to question Mr. Drezek. The successful opening of the Renovate to New Middle School, and most recently, Mr. Drezek has not only recognized the space issues in our elementary school, but that we are seeing many transitions that shows the struggle in those transition grades. I'll add that when confronted with problems, Mr. Drezek is very adept at identifying what needs to be done and crafting a solution with the staff, and that's important to include with the staff. Mr. Drezek sets a standard for a difference to be made, including our staff who have a hand in teaching, driving, reading to, mentoring, feeding, or preparing our children and young adults to be the best versions of themselves. Mr. Drezek consistently thinks out of the box in regards to budget solutions and enhancements to public education. Mr. Drezek maintains positive relationship, is well respected not only in Enfield Public Schools, but in the Enfield community as well. My tenure on the Enfield Board of Education from 2011 with various leadership roles and chair in the 2021-2023 term has enabled me to see Mr. Drezek's consistent dedication to Enfield Public Schools. So with that being said, having worked with Mr. Drezek for the last almost 13 years, and hearing what staff says all across the board, I wanted those last words from me to be about the legacy that Mr. Drezek is leaving. And good luck to you in Old Saybrook. If they need an honorary board member, things are pretty crazy around here. You're always welcome back in Enfield, and good luck to you on your new and well-deserved adventure. I know this was a hard decision for you, but sometimes we need to put ourselves and make those decisions. So good luck to you, good luck to your family, and I'm sure we'll be in touch.
So I again wanted to reiterate, because this wasn't said last week because we did not meet last week, but I wanted to say Happy Teacher Appreciation Week to all of our staff. Tina says Happy Teacher Appreciation Week as well. I just wanted to thank everybody for everything that they do for our students, and those that our children, for our kids specifically. Thank you to all of my kids' teachers. Friday, this is non-specific school related, we'll do that later, but Friday for all fifth grade students, there's the spring fifth grade dance and fun night. All the PTOs are sharing that. Again, it's open to fifth graders. It is Friday, May 17th from 6 to 8 p.m., $5 admission, which includes 3 tickets for snacks and waters that they'll have, and that's at the Enfield Youth Center, which is located on the first floor of Alcorn, 1010 Enfield Street. So just want to make sure everybody knew about that. Also this Saturday, May 18th, is the Enfield Townwide Tag Sale. I've been working hard on getting all the maps and addresses, and every dollar raised obviously goes directly to the Enfield Food Shelf. With over 130 addresses this year, they were able to raise over $3,100, and it was the equivalent of close to 4,000 meals. I don't have that number in front of me, but I'll recap that next time we meet. But I wanted to thank everybody that participates in that, and hopefully the weather will be great Saturday for the whole town to get out there and follow the townwide tag sale. You can find the map on their Facebook and Instagram pages. I'm hoping that the town council appropriates the budget that the Board of Ed bipartisanly approved. I did not say unanimously, but I did say bipartisanly approved, and thank you to the town councilors that are working hard on that. I'll be in touch with Mr. Drezek, but I just wanted everybody to know that I started the Jays. I've always matched my tops and trainers. And it's frustrating when I go to Parent-Teacher Appreciation Night or Parent-Teacher Conference, and I hear from the high school staff, "Oh, you got Jordans on. You're like Chris." I'm like, "No, sirs. No, ma'ams. He knows." No. So the school year that Superintendent Drezek started in his position in the summer, that November was when I first joined the Board of Education. So although not here as long as Tina, we've been doing it as long, Mr. Drezek and I. So I appreciate everything you've done for my 2 students and for the 5,000 kids times 20 years you've been here in all your various roles. And thank you for everything, and good luck to you and your family. And we'll see you on the beach.
Go ahead, Ms. Acree.
I just want to say, Mr. Drezek, it was great working with you, and good luck and best wishes in Old Saybrook. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else? No? Okay. All right. So budget's obviously, a big ticket item lately. I've received tons of emails, mostly form emails, and because I think we were on like an auto copy. I didn't respond to those as it was asking that I pass the budget, and already did. So I tried to respond to all the others that were sent to me, and if I missed some, I do apologize for that. This has been a difficult budget season. Nobody wants to lose their job. No parent wants to see their child or children impacted negatively. We can't definitely say right at this minute exactly what every possible scenario will look like. So to say, X, Y, and Z is gone 100% is just not possible thing to say right now because things are still, we don't even know the final number yet that, we're going to get. So, anything other than non-renewals going out and not backfilling positions, that's really the only thing that's happened. And I don't even know yet if all of those non-renewals that went out will actually come through to fruition, but we had a legal obligation to send it out when the possibility exists. So when we finally get the official final number, the interim superintendent and the administrators are going to meet quite frequently over the next few weeks to plan within the starting parameters that they have. The board will have to vote to adopt the final budget, as I'm aware of. So I'm just going to take a different approach, I guess. My dad always tells me, nothing good comes easy. I know we have some really creative and smart administrators. I'm trying to make a positive from a potential negative, I guess. Maybe this is a way to reset everything, a new superintendent, and maybe we build something that looks different, and maybe it works better. I don't know. Sometimes from great adversity comes great things. I don't know. Maybe I'm just trying hard to see something good in this, but my promise is that I will do what I can to help and offer suggestions and solutions when possible and see that Enfield Public Schools gets through the changes that come with the challenges that we may face. I'd say it's likely to be difficult, but I have hope that we can make something work. I'll stay working, driving on the state. Maybe we can all sign a letter or something to get the excess cost that we got shorted this year back. And maybe we can get other towns to sign it because we weren't the only one that happened to. Like I said, anything I do to help, just like the budget presentation I gave at the public hearing, anything I could do to help get the correct information out and support our school system. So just a couple other things that stuck out to me. A lot of people have said it to me, and I think somebody brought it up tonight, why is half of the town's budget education? Well, just taking 20 minutes out of my day today, I grew up in East Hartford. I went to school in Manchester, and my dad's a crossing guard in Glastonbury. So East Hartford, their town spends $102 million, and their board spends $98 million. Manchester, the town spends $115.9 million. The board spends $127.9. Glastonbury, their town spends $50 million, and their board spends $124 million. So it doesn't seem so crazy that half of our budget would be the town because education isn't cheap. I was going to talk more in item 11 about things that happen and stuff, but the only other couple things I wanted to talk about was Amanda on the whole joint security thing. I don't know if that's a conversation that we can have now. It might be an executive session thing. I'm not sure how that works.
I just share them publicly so you can ask.
Yep. And then to Phil comments, I agree with you. That I have, that I support you with the transparency thing. I think that's important. But the other thing that I questioned was when you had said that people said that they didn't see the administrators in the schools. I didn't hear that, but that's not to say it didn't happen, but I haven't heard that. And when Mr. Drezik gave his 20-minute dissertation on the 121 pink slips, he did say that there's no way that they could have handed them out all personally because there was just too many of them in too short of amount of time, as I recall that conversation happening. So, this isn't going to be easy, but I'm going to try to stay positive and hopeful, and maybe the stars will line up, and what's that?
Activate your star power.
Activate your star power, and maybe some people will come up, and then some people will come down, and maybe we can meet in the middle. But that's all my comments for tonight.
Just a quick retort to something you said, Tina. The the grant, when I was saying 3.9, and you said it's going to be less, I realize it definitely can be less. I don't know exactly how all those grants and stuff work and how much you're going to be getting back. And as far as the 75 new special ed students, you know how we get that money back, right? A state formula.
Yeah, and I mean, fortunately, Representative Hall is helping us with that piece of it. So it's just a matter of, nothing at the state is going to move quickly.
When we get the check, it's cashed into the board account. That's when we'll be happy.
All right, we good? Okay, so 10, unfinished business, we don't have any. Number 11, new business. Approve Enfield High School Safe Grad donation for the graduating class of 2024.
So every year, the board makes a donation to Enfield Safe Grad. It used to be two separate for two different high schools. This year, it goes to, obviously, we only have one high school now, but it requires board action. And there's a packet in your letter from Enfield High Safe Grad 2024 committee. We recommend continuing this practice and this donation to the graduating class of 2024.
Thank you, Mr. Dredzik. Okay, so I need a motion to approve donating $1,000 to the Enfield High School Safe Grad Committee on behalf of the graduating class of 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Blank, second by Mr. Ryder. Any discussion on the matter?
Madam Chair,
Yeah.
Couple questions on it. First question, just being, since we've been talking a lot about budget, so either to you or through the chair to superintendent, in the current year budget, is there a line item or spot where this funding would originate from?
Yes, there is.
Do you happen to know what department it would fall under?
I believe it falls under graduation expenses. Am I correct? Yes.
Okay, thank you. And then my second question would be regarding this event. Obviously, it hasn't happened yet, but just looking at trends, would you or the administration know the turnout for this event? Is it 100%, 75%, 50%, maybe the average turnout?
I don't know, but I'm sure Ms. LeBlanc would know, 'cause she's on that committee for a long time, right?
You've chaired it at least 3 times.
Yeah. I would say 75%, 70% is well attended. This isn't a school function. This is a donation that is made from the school to support the Safe Grad efforts for the students that are graduating.
Is there any other, are you good, Mr. Kober? Do you have any other questions?
No, that answered my questions. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. From originally when this was first proposed back a long time ago.
Right, yeah.
It goes way back. I wasn't in favor of it back then because of certain kids who didn't go to this because they felt uncomfortable. They felt they didn't have friends. A lot of reasons. And if 75% of it, the kids are going approximately, it's 25% that aren't. I would rather see some sort of a nice gigantic field day or something on the school grounds, down on the football field where everybody's included. That's just the way I feel about it.
Yeah, they do have the class picnic and they do have other events that is school sponsored. So, but I see your point, so.
What is the amount that we're donating?
$1,000.
American cash dollars.
And are there any other questions? Okay, Kathy, can I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Ryder?
Yes.
Mrs. Acree?
Yes.
Dr. Kalnin?
Yes.
Mrs. Cushman?
Yes.
Mr. Janitis?
No.
Mr. Kober?
No.
Mrs. LeBlanc?
Yes.
Mrs. Pickett?
Yes.
Chairwoman Riley?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. Item B, approve the Lester J. Bodley Scholarship recipients. Mr. Dredzik.
Thank you, Chairwoman Riley. So since 2004, Enfield Board of Education has announced the recipients of the Lester J. Bodley Memorial Scholarship at a board meeting. Scholarships are awarded each year to a male and female graduating student from Enfield High School, and such donations are permissible under the town charter. Enclosed in your packet is information provided by the Enfield High School Common Application Selection Committee. But due to student confidentiality, we're recommending that both students be referred to as Student A and Student B instead of announcing their names publicly because they are unaware that they have won this at this point.
Okay, so I need a motion to approve to award the 2024 Lester J. Bodley Memorial Scholarship for Student A and Student B as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Ryder, second by Ms. LeBlanc. Any discussion? Go ahead, Mr. Ryder.
Not discussion related to this specifically, but to Mr. Dresnick's point, the reason why we're voting for student A and B is also another plug for awards night on Monday at the high school, and that is where these awards will be awarded. So I just want to make sure everybody knew about that.
Okay. All right. Any other discussion? Okay, roll call, please, Kathy.
Mr. Ryder?
Yes.
Mrs. Acree?
Yes.
Dr. Kalman?
Yes.
Mrs. Cushman?
Yes.
Mr. Janitis?
I will be voting a yay. Yes.
Okay. Mr. Kober?
Yes.
Mrs. LeBlanc?
Yes.
Mrs. Pickett?
Yes.
Chairwoman Riley?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, approve the fiscal year 2024-25 healthy food certification.
So this is the annual notice from Diane Edwards. The board has to approve our certification as a healthy food district, but we're asking you to vote no because this is the cupcake law. So if you do adopt that you adopt as a healthy food certified district, then any non-lunch items or non-school items have to meet the same rules, and you don't get the same reimbursable amount for that, and it costs the nutrition service program more. So there's a memo in here from Diane, but this is an annual tradition where you have to make this vote, and we ask you in some weird way to vote no.
Okay. All right, so I need a motion that the Enfield Board of Education approves not to certify the 2024-25 Health Food Certification Statement pursuant to CGS Section 10-215F, certifies that all food items offered for sale to students in the schools under its jurisdiction and not exempted from the Connecticut nutrition standards published by the Connecticut State Department of Education will comply with the Connecticut nutrition standards during the period of July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025. This certification shall include all food offered for sale to students separately from reimbursable meals at all times and from all sources, including but not limited to school stores, vending machines, school cafeterias, culinary programs, and any fundraising activities on school premises sponsored by the school or non-school organizations and groups.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Dr. Callen, second by Mr. Ryder.
Madam Chair, just to confirm, the motion on the table is to certify, correct?
Is to not certify.
So we're voting in the negative, so we want to vote yes to not certify?
You want to vote yes to not certify, correct?
Understood.
We are voting yes to not certify.
I made it easier so you would understand that we're voting not to certify.
I understood, Kathy.
It's been many years of this.
No means yes. In the old days.
Is there any other discussion?
So I'll just add, obviously, we did get a recommendation from the Director of Nutrition Services, and I concur with the recommendation that certifying would create an undue burden to the department with very minimal reimbursement incentive.
Yes. Okay, any other discussion? Okay, Kathy, roll call, please.
Mr. Ryder?
Yes.
Mrs. Acree?
Yes.
Dr. Kalman?
Yes.
Mrs. Cushman?
Yes.
Mr. Janitis?
Yes.
Mr. Kober?
Yes.
Mrs. LeBlanc?
Yes.
Mrs. Pickett?
Yes.
Chairwoman Riley?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. Item D, policy revisions, first readings. Ms. Cushman, policy 4115, please.
Policy 4115 is the Educator and Leader Evaluation and Support Program. This updated policy completely replaces our current policy and aligns our district with current legislation. It gives individual districts more autonomy in developing their evaluation and support program to uniquely reflect the needs and values of the district with an emphasis on collaboration. There is one additional amendment from our discussions that didn't make it into the amendment packet. On page 1, in the last phrase of the second sentence of the first paragraph, it should say, so that all of the district students have the opportunity to experience growth and success. The addition is that phrase, have the opportunity to experience. This aligns with the policy's wording for educators and leaders found earlier in that same sentence. So I'd like to make a motion to approve the first reading of policy 4115 as revised.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Cover.
Second.
Second by Mr. Ryder. Any discussion?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
a couple of comments on this one. So just to reiterate, this policy 4115, it's basically a significant entire rewrite. This is based on a CABE recommended policy following the implementation of Connecticut Public Act 23-159. And I know I'm glad to see some verbiage addressing goal setting and educator growth. I think that's very important. The one question I have that I forgot to ask during policy, so either to the policy chair, the regular chair, or through staff, this policy is going to create a professional development and evaluation committee called the PDEC. Does this committee already exist? And if not, do we specify what it'll be comprised of?
I think, Mr. Long, you might be able to answer that?
Yes, so the committee has started to form and it'll start next year.
Okay, do you happen to know the membership or not yet?
Curriculum, teachers, building administration, not specific individuals yet.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay, Kathy, roll call, please.
Mr. Ryder?
Yes.
Mrs. Acree?
Yes.
Dr. Kalnin?
Yes.
Mrs. Cushman?
Yes.
Mr. Janitis?
Yes.
Mr. Kober?
Yes.
Mrs. LeBlanc?
Yes.
Mrs. Pickett?
Yes.
Chairwoman Riley?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. Ms. Cushman, policy 9.
Chairwoman Roy, can I
Yes,
just,
sir.
I forgot to mention, this kind of goes to Phil's question too. At next month, we're going to be bringing 2 members of PDEC that are going to be coming to explain the process a little bit more. Mr. Kober, those questions probably could be answered. They may have the members already at this point, but as a board, you'll need to vote on the new plan that you just approved in policy. It's repetitive. So you just approved the policy. The folks are going to come explain what the new plan looks like. Then you'll actually vote on the plan that'll be sent to the state. So policy first and then the plan second. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Ms. Cushman, policy 9322.
This policy is public and executive sessions. The revisions of this policy clarify the right and responsibility of individual board members to participate remotely in executive sessions, and also addresses the responsibility of administration to ensure proper security measures are in place. I'd like to make a motion to approve the first reading of policy 9322 as revised.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Pickett, second by Mr. Ryder. Any discussion?
I have a question.
Go ahead. Mr. Janitis.
When you say remote, you mean they can remotely access the executive session?
Yes.
Well, I just see a danger that somebody else other people may be sitting there watching it at the same time.
So, Mr. Janitis, this policy does include verbiage that the board member would be responsible to certify that nobody can see, hear, or otherwise participate in the executive session.
Okay. Any other discussion? No. All right. Roll call vote. Kathy, please.
Mr. Ryder?
Yes.
Mrs. Acree?
Yes.
Dr. Kalnin?
Yes.
Mrs. Cushman?
Yes.
Mr. Janitis?
I'm going to abstain.
Mr. Kober?
Yes.
Mrs. LeBlanc?
Yes.
Mrs. Pickett?
Yes.
Chairwoman Riley?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Mrs. Cushman, policy 9326.1.
That policy is the taping, recording board meetings. The revisions of this policy clearly define the responsibilities of the board and the board chairperson in reference to the taping, recording of specific types of meetings of the board. I would like to make a motion to approve the first reading of policy 9326.1 as revised.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Ryder, second by Mr. Colbert. Colbert, any discussion on the matter? Go ahead, Ms. Pickett.
Can I just get some clarity on the intent and purpose of this policy? There is no legal reference, so I'm wondering if we have to allow video and audio recordings of our meetings.
Mr. Longa, you want to clarify?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you. It's a good question. I'll see if I can find out for you.
All right, so I would just share that my concern about personal recording, and it's interesting that we're sitting here in a night where there's media recording happening, and I hadn't thought about media recording when I made these considerations. But I do have some concern about personal recording of our meetings. Our meetings are live broadcasted and posted on YouTube for the public to consume. There have been intimidating and harassing videos created and curated by content of people recording while sitting in this room. I'm concerned, not personally for myself, I'm elected to sit here, but for possible audience members who are concerned about what's being recorded and how it will be later used for political clickbait. So if there's not a legal reference or intention of this policy, I do wonder if we have to allow for video recording in our meetings.
So, Mrs. Pickett, I would add, I believe the general frame of reference of this is the Connecticut Freedom of Information Act. And it's probably written more in case law, but in public meetings, public officials have that diminished expectation of privacy, and I believe that's the framework for this.
And don't we need the policy anyways, because we have ETV? So we would have to have the.
So then is the purpose of this policy to allow for ETV? I guess my wonder is what was the intent and purpose of the policy? And is it what allows ETV? Then that's one thing. My more worry is about personal recording of our meetings.
So I think one of the originating reasons for this policy is the current policy requires that the chairperson inform everybody at the beginning of the meeting that we're being recorded, which we currently don't do and have never done. So that would include ETV. So this policy just states that the policy is the acknowledgement of the recording.
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, so roll call, please, Kathy.
Mr. Ryder?
Yes.
Mrs. Acree?
Yes.
Dr. Kalnin?
Yes.
Mrs. Cushman?
Yes.
Mr. Janitis?
Yes.
Mr. Kober?
Yes.
Mrs. LeBlanc?
Yes.
Mrs. Pickett?
Abstain.
Chairwoman Riley?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, last one, Ms. Cushman, policy 9350.
It's a policy for public hearings. The revisions of this policy expand the conditions by which the board may hold a public hearing to include 2/3 vote of the board. An additional amendment to this would be to rename the first condition from majority vote to simply board vote, and to include defining the vote to 2/3 vote of the full board rather than just simply 2/3 vote of the board. This better reflects the intent of the policy rather than a simple majority. So I'd like to make a motion to approve the first reading of policy 9350 as revised.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Kober. Can I have a second?
I had a question.
Oh, yeah, after, yep.
We didn't get there yet.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All right, second by Ms. Acree. Any discussion?
Yes.
Mr. Ryder.
Ms. Cushman, can you just read again how you want this worded? Because you said you wanted to make the edits.
Sure. So we're on side number 1, where
Yep.
it's a majority vote. We're not really doing majority when we're doing a 2/3 vote.
Correct.
So we would rename it board vote. And then where it just says by 2/3 vote of the board, just to include the word full. So it would be by 2/3 vote of the full board.
Okay. Thank you.
So,
Sorry, go ahead. Nope.
So if there's only 8 of us here, are we on the same wavelength again? Oh, my God.
Hurts, doesn't it? That would be, it would be the number 6.
So,
6.
so you're saying it still has to be 2/3 of the full board, even though the full board's not there?
Correct. The amendment would specify 2/3 of the full board, so it would default it to always that 6-person minimum.
Okay.
Go ahead, Ms. Pickett.
I would share that I think this is actually a nice addition. I wish this was part of our board policies when we were talking about armed guards, because I think there was lots of discussion about having a public hearing on that. So I appreciate this addition, and I'm in support of that, and with the subtle changes in the language. So thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion?
I just wanted to make sure.
Yes.
Kathy, did you get those edits from her?
Yeah, just
Yep.
of the full board.
Okay, great. And board vote instead of majority vote.
Could you just go over one more time the implication of this whole thing?
So, Mr. Janice, I can chime in. So currently, our policy is just a carbon copy of the state law that says we would only hold a public hearing based on a petition. So this update now empowers the board to determine to hold a vote based on our own initiative. So by 6-person vote, if there was a matter of significant community concern, as Mrs. Pickett brought up, or something else that we felt it needed to hold a public hearing, the board could vote, and this would give us a legal foundation to do that.
And 2/3.
Correct. We would need
Six votes.
six members in favor. And this is, again, this would just commit us to the public hearing where we would sit through the hearing to receive information. So whatever the subject was would still be a separate matter that would require voting on. This is just to allow a hearing for a specific task rather than having people come in for 4 minutes during the 1-hour public comment. This would create a unique meeting just for that topic.
Any other questions, Mr. Janitis? No. Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, roll call vote. Kathy, please.
Mr. Ryder?
For.
Mrs. Acree?
Yes.
Dr. Kalnin?
Yes.
Mrs. Cushman?
Yes.
Mr. Janitis?
No.
Mr. Kober?
Yes.
Mrs. LeBlanc?
Yes.
Mrs. Pickett?
Yes.
Chairwoman Riley?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. Item 11E, discussion and possible action, if any, regarding the fiscal year 23-24 school budget. So I'm just going to address this item. All right. So regarding the 23-24 budget, back in November, the budget was frozen due to the fact that there was an anticipated shortfall at that time. That realized some savings, however, not enough. We were able to set up a meeting February 1st with Town Council and Board of Ed joint leadership to talk about the budget. And at that time, we explained that it was probably not going to be a good situation. The outlook was bleak for our budget. We then had our Board of Ed budget meetings, and then we passed our budget. Since then, there have been multiple additional discussions with Town Council leadership and the council and the finance department town manager. It was even in the budget presentation at the public hearing that we were basically up against a wall currently. Multiple factors play into the shortfall, such as the infamous 1.4 Alliance grant not materializing for 2 years, leading to lack of contingency carryover. And then even after freezing the budget, we had the addition of the state reducing the current excess cost from 91% to 67% in the current year. The addition of 78 special needs students in this current fiscal year that were unanticipated. It has been a series of unfortunate events by the state and things not working out. The town charter has been reviewed via legal, so it is okay for the town to assist in the shortfall. The town of Enfield has agreed to provide the Board of Education with sufficient funds to cover the expenses needed due to the shortfall of the compounding funds that the board anticipated from the state of Connecticut for the 2022 and 2023 and 23-24 school years. The town has asked the board to vote to have myself, the chair, request a supplemental appropriation in the amount of $3.9 million, which the town will grant. In addition, if the board does not require the entire $3.9 million to cover the shortfall, the remaining funds will be deposited in the board's contingency fund for use during the 24-25 school year. So at this point, I would need a motion to allow myself, the chair, to go to the town and request a supplemental appropriation.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Kober, second by Mr. Ryder. Discussion on the matter.
So, Madam Chair, just a couple comments on this. So this item on the agenda obviously came up very recently as we're in budget season and as public may not fully recognize yet, but there are two separate budget discussions happening. There is the FY 24 to 25 budget, which will start July 1st, and that's the one that the board approved and is sent to town council. And then there's a current year budget, which covers FY 23 to FY 24, and that fiscal year ends June 30th of this year. So we're less than 60 days away from the end of the current fiscal year. The reason for this resolution now relates to state law and a town charter, which the board is potentially at the risk of violating. The state law states that expenditures by the current Board of Education cannot exceed the appropriation made by the municipality, which in our case is the town council. We are currently projecting to go over the approved budget for this current year based on a variety of reasons that Chair Riley read in. So it becomes our duty to request that additional money. The full expenditures we haven't hit yet because there's still 60 days left in the year, but between expended funds and encumbered funds, which is money that's already been spoken for, we are projecting to go, and I can read some of the numbers during the Finance Committee report, but it's approximately $3.9 million, and that's where that number is coming in. So this adds to the discourse of items moving from the Board of Ed to the Town Council, which is our municipal appropriation authority. So presuming this motion carries, the chair will be going forward asking for additional funding for the current year, as well as the next year's budget, which is already with the Town Council. I know during my board comments I did kind of address some of this where, as a organization, we can't spend money we don't have, and that comes to the tough choices and tough decisions. We can't go back in time, but we need to control where we are, and we can't run the risk of carrying debt, whether it's real or perceived debt, to the next year. In previous meetings, I've mentioned the fiscal responsibility. I know certain people like talking about the duties of board members, and the budget is probably one of our biggest duties. And it goes into if there's money that we commit that we don't have, there's potential liability issues. So that creates the importance and the urgency, I'd say, in getting this item from the board to the Town Council to cover that funding. So I'll be in support of this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Comer. Any other discussion? Sensing none, roll call, please, Kathy.
Mr. Ryder?
Yes.
Mrs. Acree?
Yes.
Dr. Calnan?
Yes.
Mrs. Cushman?
Yes.
Mr. Janitis?
Yes.
Mr. Kober?
Yes.
Mrs. LeBlanc?
Yes.
Mrs. Pickett?
Yes.
Chairwoman Riley?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right. Moving on to item number 12, board committee reports. Curriculum committee.
Yes, the next meeting is May 16th.
Okay. Finance budget committee, Mr. Cover.
All right. Thank you, Madam Chair. So the Finance and Budget Committee met on May 6th, and our next scheduled meeting is June 3rd at 5 p.m. Expenditures for the month of April of 2024 will be addressed shortly in Agenda Item 15. Regarding Item 11E that was just voted on, I do just want to share the budget summary that is provided to the Finance Committee that I know has been shared with leadership and the Town Council. So in the current year, which is FY23, FY24 budget summary, the original approved budget for the Board of Education is $75,929,555. As of our last Finance Committee meeting, being May 6th, our end-of-year projection is $79,913,884. This creates a negative balance of $3,984,329. I do note there is a placeholder of projected reimbursements in the amount of $3,843,426, showing an overall confirmed negative balance of $140,903. And that's all I have to report.
Okay. Policy committee. Ms. Cushman.
Our next committee meeting is on Tuesday, May 21st.
Okay. Leadership committee. So we met on May 2nd, and we are going to meet again this Thursday, the 16th. We obviously discussed budget at our last meeting. And then we also went into the superintendent search committee as well. So basically, at this point in time, we are, the survey went out to publicly, students, staff, it's on the website, and the survey closed on the 10th of May. Yep. And so we will be, at the next meeting, we will be looking at those results, and we will be crafting interview questions. And we'll go from there. Okay.
You're going to ask if they want us to do them?
And then, yes, if you would like to have input, you can send either Tina and Scott or me and Peter or all of us any questions that you might think are good to ask a potential candidate for superintendent. So if we can have them before Thursday's meeting at 4:30, that would be greatly appreciated. Okay. All right, liaison reports, joint facilities. So the last and the next meetings have been canceled, as far as I know, so I don't have any updates for them. JFK Building Committee, well, we had that tonight, so that was good. Joint Security.
Met last Friday. It meets every other week.
Yep. I was going to ask at that meeting about the signage with the blinking lights, but I didn't get a chance to ask it. But it's still on the radar to ask again. But they did say, you know, that it's with the DOT and that takes a while. So, but it's on the radar to ask again. Yep. The Mental Health Committee.
Dr. Callan, Mr. Longy, and I have been invited to participate in the Community Action Learning Class project that was mentioned earlier by the student rep. Their community project this semester is about student mental and emotional health. The students are having a wellness mini fair at Enfield High on May 31st from 10:30 to 12:30 in the cafeteria. They have also invited other community organizations that have a focus on mental and emotional health to come and promote strategies and supports and information to our students.
Thank you, Ms. Hickory. Enfield Culture and Arts?
I missed the meeting due to various
stuff?
reasons, yes.
Okay. All right. School reports and updates. Would you like to go first, Mr. Ryder?
I would.
Okay.
So just a quick report from Eli Whitney. Our fifth graders are going to tour JFK tomorrow. So I know that a lot of the fifth grade schools take their turns, but tomorrow the Eli Whitney fifth graders will get to go to JFK and see the building, get familiar with where they'll be in the fall. Our fourth graders at Whitney are going on a field trip to the Connecticut Science Center this Friday, May 17th. Just a quick reminder for parents that the Scholastic Book Fair is next week, Monday through Wednesday. Classroom schedules were sent home last Friday. Any parent interested in volunteering, please use the link on the Facebook page or reach out to the office. And lastly, we will be holding an in-school chorus band concert on Tuesday, May 21st at 1:30, and then an evening concert on Thursday, May 23rd at EHS at 6:30. That is it from Eli Whitney.
All right. Anybody else? Go ahead, Dr. Callan.
With respect to Head Start, Head Start is currently embarking on its annual self-assessment process, excuse me, the purpose of which is to review progress on goals and objectives, being accountable for what has been proposed in its application, and determining if resources are being used effectively. The self-assessment team consists of the program staff, policy committee members, community leaders, and other interested parties. At the present time, Head Start is at the second phase of the self-assessment process. The 5 phases are designing of the process, engaging the team, which is what we just got done doing, analysis and dialogue, recommendations, and report preparation. The session was very productive with challenges and opportunities identified for further exploration, and I will keep you posted on the progress of this process. With respect to KITE, KITE in partnership with Enfield Public Schools presented at 2024 statewide Childhood Conversations Conference on the power of play. It was well received by educators, parents, and providers. And special thanks to Christine Nizzolo, the kindergarten teacher at Hazardville Memorial, for partnering on the presentation. KITE is grateful for the partnership with Enfield Public Schools to provide and facilitate Enfield Gets Ready for Kindergarten Night, which happened on April 16th. If you missed it, all documents and the video recording can be found on KITE's website at enfieldkite.org. And finally, KITE is currently in the process of arranging another dinner for pediatricians this summer. As was the case for all previous such dinners, this one will focus on a major mental health challenge involving early childhood. Actually, all children, but especially early childhood. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Callen. Go ahead, Ms. Pickett.
I would just share with families, I know our school administrators send out weekly newsletters, lots of events for end of school year going on. I would encourage you to make sure that you're checking out those newsletters or enfieldpto.com because they also host all of those. But I will share as an ESS parent and a Parkman parent, I know there's also a family survey that's going out. It seems like a little bit like a school climate type survey, family engagement survey. I would encourage families to also complete that as well. So there's a QR code in newsletters for those. So thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Pickett. Go ahead, Ms. Acree.
From Principal Dupere at Crandall, happy Mother's Day to all of our amazing Crandall mothers. Thank you for sharing your children with us. Students are working hard and striving to do their personal best on the Smarter Balance assessments. They have been working all year preparing, and we are excited to see the results. On May 15th, the Crandall Chorus Band and Orchestra will have their spring concert at Enfield High School at 6:30 p.m. Please come and support our wonderful musicians. Field Day is on May 31st. Make sure you return your green permission slip for the water slide inflatables and snow cones. Other important dates, the next Crandall and Barnard PTO meeting is on May 21st. The May Pride Assembly, which is a school awards program at Crandall, is going to be held on May 28th at 1:30. And the One Book, Three Schools authors visit is on May 30th.
Thank you, Ms. Acree. Ms. Cushman?
Regarding Parkman Elementary School, in addition to the survey that Mrs. Pickett mentioned, just a word about it. The survey questions address topics such as school environment, communication, and opportunities for family involvement. It's a brief survey, so if just to encourage parents and caregivers to go on the newsletter and find the link to that will take you to the survey. The feedback from the survey enables the staff to really understand how they can better serve each child and to improve their school community. On May 22nd, Parkman Chorus and Instrumental Concert will be at the Enfield High School Auditorium at 6:30.
Thank you, Ms. Cushman. Mr. Kober?
All right, I want to give a quick shout out to the Henry Barnard friends and families. Just so you know, Field Day will be held on Thursday, May 30th. Grade 1 field trip is May 31st. Grade 2 has a visit to Crandall on June 4th, and Grade 2's field trip is June 5th. As mentioned, always keep an eye out for your newsletter, which will be the Big Cat Courier, in your emails for other important information. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Hazardville Memorial. Important dates before our next board meeting is May 22nd, next Wednesday, is their math night and book fair, and then May 23rd is their PTO meeting. So before we move on to approval of minutes and the rest of the agenda, because we only have 10 minutes left till 10 o'clock, I'm going to entertain a motion to extend past 10 o'clock.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Dr. Callen, second by Ms. Lang. Any discussion? Show of hands, all in favor. There are 8 in favor. Anybody against? 1 against. So going past 10. Okay. Hopefully it won't go past too much. All right, so next is approval of minutes. Regular Board of Ed meeting minutes, April 23rd, 2024. Need a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion
Second.
by Ms. Pickett, second by Mr. Kober. Any discussion?
I do have one correction. Under board guests, Kathy, under Invention Convention, it should say Elena Beebe. And then you wrote Mr. Cameron instead of Mr. McIntosh. That's it.
Okay. Okay, so Motion to approve the minutes as amended.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Pickett.
Second.
Second by Mr. Ryder. Show of hands in favor. There are 9 in favor, none against. Okay. All right, Mr. Kober, approval of accounts and payroll.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. So approval of accounts and payroll, I just want to note the agenda erroneously says May of 2024. We'll be addressing April of 2024. The Finance Committee met on May 6th of 2024 to review financial statements for the month of April year-to-date and examine various documents related to finances. Our review concluded nothing of significance to report to the board. I therefore move we accept the superintendent's certification as follows. Quote, I hereby certify that in the month of April, total expenditures amount to $6,327,326.38, broken down between payroll totaling $4,914,196.04 and other accounts totaling $1,413,130.34. All payments have been made in accordance with the approved budget and are properly accounted for within the books of accounts. Copies of approval for check invoices are properly documented. End quote. And this was certified by Lorena Cisneros, business manager.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Pickett. Well, motion made by Mr. Kober, second by Ms. Pickett. Yes. Any discussion on the matter? No discussion. Oh, yes. Show of hands in favor. There's 9 in favor, none against. Go ahead, Mr. Kober, second.
All right. The next item is the finance will be certification of grants and Head Start expenditures. So again, the Finance Committee met on May 6th of 2024 to review financial statements for grants during the month of April year-to-date and examine various documents related to finances. Our review concluded there was nothing of significance to report to the full board. Motion is I move we accept the superintendent's certification as follows. Quote, I hereby certify in the month of April, the total grant and Head Start expenditures amount to $354,104.21, broken down between payroll totaling $306,025.38 and other accounts totaling $48,000.78.83. All payments have been made in accordance with the approved budget and are properly accounted for within the books of accounts. Copies of approvals for check invoices are properly documented. End quote, prepared by Lorena Cisneros.
Second.
Ooh, that was a big old tire. Okay, so motion made by Mr. Kober, second by Dr. Calnan. Show of hands in, any discussion? No, show of hands in favor. 9 in favor, none against.
And Madam Chair, there are no line item transfers at this time.
Okay, perfect, thank you. Mr. Ryder, correspondence and communications.
I have one. Just give me a moment.
Oh, there's more.
Yes.
It's everyone's graduation.
Oh, so we have 2 correspondence and communications. The first is our official invitations to the graduation ceremony taking place at Enfield High School. So if you could pass 3 down that way and the balance down that
Okay.
way. And just want to make sure that you guys know that there are wristbands enclosed with each invite. Please wear those to get where we need to be. See you there. Our other piece of communications to the Enfield community, parents, students, and to the Board of Education. Tonight is my last Board of Education meeting as your superintendent. I wanted to use this opportunity to say thank you for affording me the privilege of serving this community for the past 20 years. I chose to thank you this way and to not do so during the superintendent's report, as I've always believed that this portion of the meeting is about our schools and our kids and not about me. I also chose this format because I'm fully aware that Mr. Ryder would have to be required to read this as his Board of Education secretary. I also know that some in town may complain because this would be more than 3 minutes, and I'm not a resident, though this is why I'm having Scott read it. I realize there is a possibility that he may get emotional reading this, and I certainly did not intend to do that to embarrass him. I chose to do this so that people in this room and the people watching at home could see the real Scott Ryder, the person I've gotten to know as a colleague and a friend these past 6 years. 7. Sorry. All right, so Scott has been ridiculed, called horrific things, all for trying to raise money for kids with cancer. Not even because of personal experience or a different motive. He began this project because of a teacher's child who was at CCMC and wanted to help other kids and families during the worst possible moments in their lives. To say or insinuate otherwise is just not right. He's a man who got involved with our schools, not to be a politician, but to volunteer in his children's schools and make sure he was present in their lives. He's not from here. He's not a townie, but he recognizes that this is his kid's hometown, and he wants to make all kids' lives better. Scott, you don't owe me anything or have to take my advice, but if I can share my one hope for you is that you don't change. One thing I'm certain of, no matter what nonsense is being thrown his way, next December he'll be running around town in his pajamas trying to make life better for people who are suffering. To the parents of Enfield Public Schools, thank you for trusting me with the most important thing in your lives, your children. I know we didn't always agree, but I hope you realize that despite any of our differences, we had one thing in common, the best interest of your children. To the students of Enfield Public Schools, thank you for the reminder of what I'm here for, all of you. Thank you for always being your best, even when it was hard. Thank you for not caring what my name was or my title and simply just telling me about your day or your dog when I'd come to visit you in the schools. Most importantly, thank you for all the Wednesdays. You may not know this, but Tuesday nights can be difficult at times, but it's Wednesdays that I look the most forward to. After a long night, I would always try to come see you the next day for a reminder of why I'm here, and none of you have ever disappointed me. I'm not going to be here for your graduation speeches, but please never forget that you can be anything you want in life. Staff, this is not the forum to say goodbye, so please don't be insulted. To all the former elected officials I've had the pleasure of working with, thank all of you. The former and current town council members, especially the mayors, Mayor Copen, Mayor Ludwig, Mayor Cressati, and Mayor Nelson, thank you all for always listening, even if and when we didn't agree. To the former town managers I've had the pleasure of working with, each of you, thank you. Each of you were unique in your own way, but treated me with nothing but kindness, and I can never truly thank each of you for that. However, to our former and current town manager, Chris, they say you find out who your real friends are when times get tough, and my friend, no one could have imagined the things that we went through together. When the world shut down, the community looked at us to get them through it, and the truth is, we didn't really know what we were doing. But we both had the confidence to do what we believed was right because we had each other. I gained a lot of gray hairs during that time, but most importantly, I gained a friend, and I can't tell you how grateful I am for that. To all the former board members I've worked with over the years, there's too many to thank, so I'll just say a blanket thank you. With one exception, to Mrs. Joyce Hall. Joyce was always the conscience of this board. And although always supportive, not afraid to challenge me when she had to, or any one of us. Her picture hangs outside my office, and it's a daily reminder of her that I treasure. Two past board chairs, Mr. Soaks, Mr. Neville, Mr. Sherrard, and Mr. Grizel. I say thank you. You stood by me even when it wasn't popular, and I can never thank each of you enough. Tim, you know I'll have more to say to you when I'm gone. To the ETV crew, especially Alex. I know I've made your life miserable over the last few years, but thank you for always running in to save the day when I've messed something up on you. To our current board, some of this may surprise you. Phil. Most people watching may think that we don't get along or even that we don't like each other. None of that is true. Yes, we've had our moments on TV, but what most people don't see are the private conversations we've had these past few months. You've always been respectful and treated me with respect, and I hope you feel I've treated you the same. We may not always agree, but we can disagree civilly, and I believe we've both done that, and I do wish you the best. Amanda. Now that I'm leaving, I can say this out loud. There have been many times I've wanted to hit my button and tell you to stop with the snapping of the fingers. However, I never did. Not just because I didn't want to be disrespectful, but because I knew why you were doing it. Again, we haven't always agreed on everything, and you weren't shy about pushing back, but I've never questioned your motives. You have a strong belief of what's best for the kids, and I have all the respect in the world for what you stand for, but more importantly, for you. P.S. I'll state for the record, you never canceled Christmas. Janet, like Scott, you have endured criticism that I believe is wrong and unfair. Yes, you questioned certain things that you believed in, but that is what you're supposed to do. Even during the harshest attacks, mostly on your character, you remained calm, but most importantly, kind. I want to thank you for always listening, even when you didn't agree. I also must thank you for understanding, especially times when I know you weren't given the correct information, but you never judged, and I can't thank you enough for that. I find you to be a warm, kind person who has strong beliefs, and our district needs people like you. Dr. Jerry, I've had the privilege of knowing you when you were just a pediatrician, and I don't think I'm giving away state secrets here by stating you're not a good politician. But you are a tremendous board member. You exemplify what a board member should be, ignore the nonsense, and focus on the health and well-being of our kids. Never compromising what you believe in. And you've sacrificed your well-earned retirement to give back to the community you love. You've influenced more lives than you'll ever know. If you're first, you've influenced more lives than you'll ever know, but please know the impact you have sitting up here the past few years is just as impactful. Please don't stop fighting for our kids, because you and Jean know better than anyone. They need you now more than ever. Also, don't be afraid to invite Andy to the next Red Rosie meeting. He really wants to go. I think he's looking forward to the rocking chairs, too. Jean, thank you for being you, a teacher at your core. You've never forgotten that. And although it took you a bit, everyone can see that you've found your voice and who you are. I can't tell you how many people have told me, thank goodness we have Jean up there. And they mean it. I'll never forget the day you said to me, Chris, I'm just Gina Cree. I want to help kids and not get involved in all this politics stuff. My hope is that you have the strength to just do that. Keep trying to make kids' lives just a bit better. Keep showing up at events and musicals. You may know it. You may not know it, but our kids know that you're there. When the other stuff comes up, remind yourself of the performance you saw or the assembly you just got back from. I don't know when you were I didn't know you when you were teaching, but if you were half as good in the classroom as you are in this boardroom, you're as good as it gets. You and Jerry have formed a partnership to help kids. Please don't ever stop, because they need you. Also, when a student thanks you, always remember they mean it, and they'll never forget what you did for them. Keep reading those reports from Andrew. That's what you're here for. Peter, see ya. I'm kidding. It actually says, Peter, see you. I'm kidding. Of everyone here, I've known you the longest. Sometimes people only see the Peter on TV or on Facebook, and I just wish more people knew the real Peter. But that's not on you. Some may see you as the crazy old goat yelling at the town council or getting into it on Facebook, but the Peter I know spent his life in the classroom and has always cared about the kids, especially those who are struggling the most. When you left the board, you gave me some advice to never turn my back on my teachers, and I actually listened. Well, Peter, it's my turn. Let the town see the real you. The Peter that wants to advocate for kids who are struggling. The Peter that wants to clear the deck of red tape to help teachers. Don't placate to the very few who want you to spread their message of mistrust and conspiracy, because you do know better. You said it yourself. You're not getting any younger. I hope you use this time left on the board to do what you're good at, helping kids. No one will ever know of the private conversations you and I have had over the years, but we both know everything else is just nonsense. The difference is you have the power to change the narrative. Let this district and this town see the real you. Also, stop attacking administrators. We both know it was a certain administrator who saved your ass more than once. Madam Chair, no, this time I mean LeBlanc, no one will ever know all that you've done to help this place, but also what you did for me. There were many times over the past few years that I wanted to walk, but it was always you that reminded me why we're all here, and I can never thank you enough for that. I knew you were just a mom concerned about having a kid's school of yours close, but we know you're much more than that. In my time here, you have gone from a volunteer at her kid's school to a role model for all kids, not just girls. You have been personally attacked, ridiculed, and even endured attacks on your family. Yet through it all, you showed grace, patience, but most of all, kindness, especially to people who weren't affording you the same. You exemplify what it means to be a good person. Forget about being a board member. We've spent more time talking or in meetings than we have with our own families. The difference is, at least I was getting paid. But that shows your true character. Someone who cares more for others than they do of themselves. Recently, we talked a lot about your time as chair, and I'm not going to relive the craziness, but we've reflected on how you were perceived. At times, talking about both of our legacies. The truth is that your legacy has nothing to do with your time on the board, because your legacy is Regina, Cam, and Colin, 3 amazing young adults that have the privilege of calling you mom, and a front row seat to live and see the unselfish life to serve the greater good. You're an amazing board member, boss, and person. And most importantly, you're a better friend. I can't forget to thank and apologize Steve, who sacrificed more than all of us to let you be you. And also Grammy and Grandpa seem pretty awesome too. Finally, current chairwoman Riley, you didn't ask for any of this. When you were first elected this time, I'll be honest, people were nervous. I kept telling everyone to relax. We have Charlotte. Once again, you made me look good, because I can't tell you how many teachers have reached out to me to say, Chris, you were right. Charlotte is amazing. And thank God she has that gavel. My hope is that after I'm gone, people won't forget to remind you of how great you are and to thank you for all that you do, not just in front of the camera, but behind it. People, because without you, there's no telling where we'd be. These past few months, I've gotten the chance to confirm what I've already known. You are here for the right reasons. You have said it many times. I just want to serve on the board to help kids. None of this other crap. Yet without complaining, you do it. Because in your heart, you believe you're doing what is best for the kids. No one will ever really know the sacrifice you make by doing this volunteer job. But I've gotten to know you pretty well, and I know enough to know why you're doing this. They may not know it, but you're doing this for Logan and Rachel. And every kid out there like them. You see all of our kids as if they are your own, and someday they'll appreciate what you're doing for them more than you'll ever know. You've also let it slip more than once that your dad worked as a bus driver and a crossing guard after he retired, and I've had the pleasure of knowing him too. It all makes sense. Your duty to give back to the kids is part of who you are and what you believe in, instilled in you by your parents. I can't speak for them, but I'm certain how proud of you they are. I meant this when I told you. The one regret I have about leaving is not getting to work longer with you as chair. The truth is, I almost backed out when I found out that you would be our chair. In the end, my family won, just like yours is winning by you being here fighting for them. In this short time, you've already proven to be an amazing leader, a role model for all young people, and a genuine person and a great friend. It may not always seem like it, but this town needs to realize how lucky they are to have you up here. Also, Ryan, thank you, and I'm sorry. Thank you for sharing Charlotte with us and me personally, and I'm sorry for interrupting dinner so many times. Many people have asked what I'm going to say about my little buddy here to my right. Right before I leave, well, since he's already exposed our romantic walks, my answer is mind your business. My words for him will remain between us, but while I have the mic, I have to say how proud I am for realizing this. Pardon me. My words for him will remain between us, but while I have the mic, I have to say how proud I am of him for realizing this wasn't the right move for him and his family, but to also remind this town how lucky they are to have 2 superintendents these past 7 years. The fact that he wants to stay here should be celebrated. And if you give him any crap as interim, I'll steal him away from you in a heartbeat. I hope all of you realize none of this is possible without one person, Kathy, or as many of you call her, your Kathy. Although all this stuff happens in this room over the years, there's always been one constant to keep us focused, and that is her. And when we're done, she has to spend countless hours making sense of all the crazy things said in here just to get you guys your minutes. No matter how late we go, she's never been late the next morning in the office, and she's seen it all, yet she still shows up. She represents all that is good in this place, and don't forget to remind her of that. And one more thing, Phil, you will never be as good of a parliamentarian as her, but you may keep trying. By now, everyone just wants to go home, so I will wrap it up. I've spent the last 2 months asking myself the same question: would I do anything different? And the simple answer is no. I have not been perfect. I've certainly made mistakes, but I did this job the only way I know how, never losing focus on what is most important: kids and people. I knew this was coming. A John Bon Jovi quote. I think John Bon Jovi said it best in the timeless song, It's My Life. Like Frankie said, I did it my way. And that's good enough for me. With that, I wish to say thank you and good night. Chris Drezik, soon to be the former superintendent of Enfield Public Schools. I, Scott Ryder, to make a motion to adjourn.
No, not yet.
Yes. So I repeal my motion to adjourn. But I would like to make a motion to move into executive session due to matters related to personnel.
Second.
We made that up.
I apologize.
We
I
can- we
also
can
renege
rescind-
that motion.
I'll rescind my second.
Thank you.
You can
I'll rescind my
rescind your-
first. And now I will say motion to adjourn.
And I'll second that.
All those in